Without wasting any time, allow me to read some housekeeping rules for you. To evacuate the building, please use the exit by the nearest staircase, following the exit signage, and obey all instructions given by fire wardens. Remember to avoid using lifts. Second, kindly switch your mobile phones to silent mode, or better yet, switch them off for your full attention throughout our event. Third, if you are unwell, we kindly advise you to wear face masks during the seminar as courtesy to other participants. Fourth, at this event, we offer an open buffet. Yay! Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank today's sponsor, Facade Resources, Sendirian Berhad, and ISOPAN for their support of the event. Please give them a big round of applause. And to start with the first session, without further ado, please welcome our speaker to today's event, DATO Jason KWAN. Before we begin the talk, let me give an introduction. DATO Jason KWAN has been working in the Malaysia construction industry for the past 20 years, specializing in building materials, especially aluminium and steel. His companies, Facade Resources, K3 Metal, and Million Extruder are all renowned companies in the construction material supply industry. His companies have supplied materials to some high-profile construction projects, including buildings such as KLCC Petronas Twin Towers, KLIA 2, Ilham Tower, and the Exchange 106 Tower. Other notable projects that DATO Jason is involved in includes the construction of LRT and MRT stations, medical centers such as Sunway Medical Centers and the Columbia Asia Medical Center, as well as numerous offices and resident towers such as Star Residences, 1KL, Oxley Tower, and Mersu Aspire Tower. As one of the directors of Facade Resources Sendirian Berhad, DATO Jason KWAN plays an instrumental role in overseeing the company's overall operations with a strategic focus on business development. Under his leadership, Facade Resources continues to set new standards in innovation and compliance. In his talk today, he will be introducing Facade Resources' fire cavity barrier system, which can be used in external facade and cladding systems for high-rise buildings, in conjunction with latest Bombas circular stating that all buildings of 18 meters high and above must adhere to the new standards as stipulated in Malaysia's UBBL. According to this new standard, all cladding systems must comply with the BS 8414 standard. Facade Resources has effectively developed the first Malaysian-made system that complies with BS 8414 and has also successfully launched its products in the industry for the past 2 years since the establishment of the standard in 2021. DATO Jason KWAN holds a master's degree in Business System from Monash University and a first-class honours Bachelor of Science in Computing from Oxford Brookes University. His companies are active members of the Federation of Malaysia Manufacturers, Aluminium Manufacturers Group Malaysia, Persatuan Facade Industry Malaysia, and Malaysia Steel and Metal Dealer Association. Please welcome to the stage DATO Jason KWAN.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. I think the MC has extensively introduced me, so I think that's the end of my talk. Okay, anyway, good morning, everybody. Okay, can I feel some energy, okay? I know it's Saturday morning. I know you're not supposed to be here. I know you are here for the points. Or are you here for the product talk? Which one which? Okay, I hope you all will be excited just as much as I do, because today I've traveled 20 minutes from my office to here. That's a short journey. But the next speaker has traveled more than 14 hours. So, yeah, 17. Okay, I heard it's 17, all right? So it'll be very interesting because he just arrived yesterday, so he's a bit jet-lagged now, but he is still excited. So I hope people like us who have enough sleep should be excited as well, right? Okay, so I'll start with my first talk. Today, my first talk is on my company, Facade Resources. Our first product, one of our product, which is the Facade Shield. We call it Facade Shield for the fire cavity barrier. So what it is about, okay? So, as per the MC introduction just now, we talk about BS8414. Okay. So, has anyone heard of this new standard before this? Has anyone here? Can I have a show of hands? Okay. There are some. Have not heard of this? Not in the room. Okay. I can see that if there's more than half in this room that has not heard of this, it's fine because it's really new. But then you say it's new, it's not really new anymore because it's been implemented since 2023. And this year is 2025. But it's very important for all the architects and especially consultants, especially in the fire industry as well, to know about this industry. So what is this industry about? It's actually, okay, as BS, it stands for British Standard. Okay, so it provides guidance on the fire performance of external cladding system. Okay, applied to the outside of building. All right, it aims to ensure that cladding systems are designed, installed, and maintained in a way that minimizes the risk of fire spread across the external walls. Okay, so this is all on the facade. All right. Now, why was it implemented? All right. In my next slide, I will show to you that it has been gazetted into our law that it has to be adhered in our UBBL. Why is it so important? All right. What happened is that fire has been occurring in high-rise building for the last few years, and probably one of the most popular one that you probably have heard of is the Grenfell Tower. All right. Grenfell Tower happened in London, UK in 2017. And you know, UK, we always think that they are a modern country that should have enough system, firefighting system, to stop fire happening in high-rise building, right? So what happened in this building is on 14 June 2017, in the morning, 12 midnight, okay, because of just an electric circuit short. Okay, I heard, from what I learned is from the fridge, from one of the unit, and fire broke out. And the fire spread initially in the unit building itself, then it spread out to the external wall, and then within an hour, 1.5 hours, the whole external wall caught fire. In the whole incident, 72 people died, and 74 people injured. So it's a serious matter, right? So other than that, there's also other building, especially back in our country here, we have the recent fire in EPF building as well. All right, I think it caught 2 times fire, what I know. Okay, only in Malaysia you can get 2 times. All right, so is it important to know about this standard? Yes, because, all right, this is the history, how it was implemented. So actually, it all started in 2018, where our Fire Department of Malaysia started studying into BR135 after the EPF incident. Remember just now I showed you the EPF incident is 2017, all right? So in 2019, Bomba notified the industrial player to comply with BS8414 for external cladding system as test method stated in BR135. So this BS8414 is actually a British standard that has been in British system for many, many years. Actually, it's not a new thing. It has been there for the past 20 years, but it was never implemented. It was never built on, even though there's such a good system, such a good standard. All right? So what happened is that in 2020, as everybody knows, we have a sort of like a rest period due to COVID. Then in 2021, Bomba issued a circulation for all building cladding material to comply with 8414. All right? And in 2022, BS8414 has been passed in Parliament. And that's why I say it's very important for all of you who are here to know the importance of this, because it's part of the law. All right? So it has been passed in Parliament under the new UBBL, Uniform Building Bylaw, Clause 144, which makes all high-rise building more than 18 meter mandatory to comply to BS 8414. This law has been gazetted in 1st January 2023. For us, in facade resources, when we were told in 2019 that the Bombay is looking at gazetting BS 8414 as one of the requirements into external wall cladding, as an industry player that has been very active for the last 20 years, we feel it's necessary that we have to come out with a system that our Malaysian industry player can use. And not just that, the most important, it must be effective and economical as well. All right? And that is who we are today with the system. Now, one of the things that I need you all to know, when you need 8414, when you don't need 8414, this is also very important. I guess some of the architects here deal with high-rise buildings, some of you all don't, right? So one word, one number that I would like you to keep in mind is the number 18. Not because suite 18, it's because of 18 meter. All right? As long as your building is above 18 meter, all right, then you need BS 8414 for your external wall cladding. All right? What about below 18 meter? All right? So in the Bombay has requested for below 18 meter, you just need a class O to comply with BS 476 part 6 part 7. All right? Now, there's a catch that I want you all to know as well. Can you see the gap between this as well? All right? This is a building and building gap. Luckily, in Malaysia, I don't see any independent high-rise building that is less than 2 meter. All right? Because if it's less than 2 meter, such as this, even though your building is below 18 meter, you still need to do your BS 8414. You still need to comply. All right? But I don't think Malaysia has such building. I've seen so many buildings quite nicely done. That's why we have to, compliment our local authority. Because I have development in Cambodia, I can share with you, we have buildings that can kiss each other. All right? Basically, my neighbor, I can just extend my hand and shake him. That's how it works in other countries. But luckily, in Malaysia, we don't have. But anyway, just bear in mind, anything below 2 meter, you need 8414 as well, regardless of your height of your building. All right? So the first is above 80 meter. The second is the distance more than 2 meter. Then you need to have 8414. All right? Okay? Okay. So these are all in the book. So in the UBR, everything is stated. So this is a Perintah Tetap Ketua Pengarah Bilangan 5 tahun 2021. This is the Pengarah, and this where the instruction is. So if you look at here, it's stated that more than 80 meter, bangi bangunan melebihi 18 meter tinggi, using non-combustible material and berdasarkan BS 8414. If kurang 18 meter, class O, BS 476 part 6 part 7. All right? Okay? All right. So this is in the bylaw, as mentioned, bylaw 144, cladding on external wall, UBBL. So it's written here. It's the same words that we repeat again. Okay, so why I bring this up at my very first section of my presentation is because I want to know how important it is that all the stakeholders in this industry, especially architect and consultant, that they need to know this is the law. It's no longer you say, can I choose not to? You can't choose. You have to adhere. All right? Okay. So, this is the interesting part. How do you pass the standard? Okay, I'll show you some picture. All right. This is how it looks like in Sirim, Rasa. Malaysia are quite blessed because we have a facility in Rasa, Sirim, that specializes on doing this 8414 testing. But I can tell you it costs a lot of money because it cost me a lot of money. All right. Today, later, I will show you all the certificates. We have about 12 certificates. One certificate cost me almost 80,000. So you can guess how much it cost me. All right. So this is in Rasa. So what happened is that this is the combustion chamber. So in order to pass the 8414, there is 2 thermocouple that we put in. this level and this level. This level is actually 5 meters above the combustion chamber, all right, 5 meters, okay? And the level 2 is 2.5 meters ahead from the level 1, okay? So how do I know with fire past the 8414? Okay, so this is the, okay, see here? Must not, okay, so the first criteria is the temperature rise. Once this thermocouple exceed 200 degrees Celsius, means you have break the first thermocouple, and in the next 15 minutes, it should not break the second thermocouple here, all right, the level 2 thermocouple, for more than 30 seconds, registering 600 degrees Celsius. So what does it mean? If let's say, sini, we bakar, fire, 200 degree, pass, the fire keep on burn. Within 15 minutes, the fire touch here, but never touch 600 degree, fine. Okay, for the next 1 hour. Okay, so if let's say 7 minutes go up but come down, cannot. Yes, as long as it's not for 30 seconds. Just 1 second, tak apa. 2 seconds, tak apa. But if you break this 600 degrees Celsius and the 600 degrees Celsius register more than 30 seconds, then you fail. Okay? Understand? So a bit technical, but don't worry, I'm here to help. So just in case if you don't understand, you can ask the question again later, or you can look for us. All right? But this is how it works. Okay? That's the first one. The second one is the visible flaming. This is more of observation. Basically, they want the whole rig here, okay, is literally stay there. Okay, the whole test rig is still there, and the fire is still confined within this area. It's not like going there or there for 60 minutes during the whole fire test. Next. Falling debris. So, as you know, this is a wall cladding. It could be aluminum, it can be steel, it could be anything. All right? So, when we burn, you know, aluminum temperature more than 300 degrees, it will start to collapse or start to melt. So all the debris will start to come down, especially part of the system inside that could have something, rock, wool, or whatever it is. It will fall out. So this debris, when you burn, when it falls to this confined area, yeah, this area here, continuous flaming debris is not permitted. So it must be able to self-extinguish 60 seconds. If it drops here, 60 seconds, it must be gone. If after 60 seconds there's still debris, means you fail. So why this is important, okay? As mentioned, this is a system test. And imagine this is a building as well. And people is running out of this building. The idea is they don't want this debris to first to fall on the people. And number two, even if it falls down, it will self-extinguish so that you won't burn the people, providing enough time for the people to leave the building. All right, to run away from the building. Okay? And number four, this also, there is no collapse of the system. All right? So there cannot be more than 500 mm length product or 200 grams of product flaming or not onto the floor of the test facility outside the designated curb zone here as well. So nothing from here should collapse structurally as well. Okay? So make clear, simple. So if you get that, you got it done, congratulations. You got your BS 8414 complied system test. All right? Now, I'll just spend another next 5 minutes talking about 8414, the idea of 8414. Okay? Just like many fire standard or fire tests outside, the idea about 8414 is about we call it compartmentalization. Okay, compartmentalize. Sorry, compartmentalize. Just like, you know, when you have class O, when you have internal, where you set up a building, sometimes you fix up the firewall or you fix up a fire door. What are you trying to do? You're trying to contain. You have to contain the fire spread within the floor. Am I right? That's why you do all this thing. In our facade, it's the same thing. We are just trying to also compartmentalize, but what we are compartmentalizing is the facade itself. Okay, I will have a picture later to show you. Okay, but in terms of description, it's basically the idea is to achieve by dividing the building into separate fire-resistant sections, or we call it compartments. Each compartment is designed to contain a fire for a specific period, allowing time for evacuation and firefighting efforts. So what does it mean? It's this. Oh, sorry. Okay? So this is just a principle, okay, to set a compartmentation within the wall of cladding system, prolong or delaying the fire spread and second fire to be built, and definitely we are using non-combustible materials as well. So this is what I'm trying to say. Okay, look. This is how a building normally works, all right? This is how the facade is, right? Can you see the green and the red lines? So these are what we call horizontal barrier and vertical barrier. This is what we are doing. This is the product. This is our product. The red and the green is our product. So what it does is that by, compartmentalize this place, when we build this barrier around this area, you are basically contain the fire around this area. Okay? Everywhere. So, what is the principle of this compartment? There's a standard to do this. And it's very important for you all to know this. Okay? Why I say it's very important for you all to know this is because now in the industry, it has been rolled out since 2023. Unfortunately, to say that due to lack of probably, I won't say knowledge, but probably experience and also exposure, we have projects that they know they want to comply to 8414. Yes, they do. But unfortunately, when it comes to the site, they didn't implement as per the standard. This is how the standard should work. So there are some people who actually have this, but forgot to build this, which is wrong. Okay, so how you know it's right? Okay, we talk about the vertical barrier first, which is the easier one, the green one. Okay, these are the vertical barrier. So basically, vertical barrier must be installed along all edges of the building. Okay, say your building, for this instance, is 35 meters, means your left and the right must mount, the corner must have. All right, but for any segment longer than 20 meters. So if it's 35, it's more than 20 meters, then you have to build one vertical. Do you get it? Say today, we have 50. How it works? Left, right, then make sure after 20, maximum 20, 20 and 10. Or if you want, 16, 16 cannot. Can. You can do that, as long as it's not more than 20. All right? So that's how the vertical building is done. The vertical barrier need to be installed. Now, this is the tricky part, the horizontal barrier. The horizontal barrier is very important, and I hope you all can understand. You all cannot, don't worry, because it's your first time. If it is the first time you listen to my talk, it's fine. You get confused, I can answer you later, but try to come over it. Okay, so it's very simple. Again, horizontal fire barrier must be installed at each of the first 3 floors. 1, 2, 3. Must have 1, the red one, 2, 3. Okay? At every 20 meters in height as the building rises. If there are walls opening, which is the windows, okay, on every floor, such as window or vents on every floor, a horizontal fire barrier must be installed at every floor level, and the opening must be properly compartmentalized by the fire barrier to prevent fire spread. Okay, what does it mean? Remember, first, second, third, no compromise. The red must be built. The fourth, this is the 4th level. So is there a, see, there's a window, right? So this must be built because that is opening. So they need to have the horizontal barrier on the 4th floor. And another thing that you need to build is, around the opening, you need to put your horizontal and vertical barrier as well. Okay? Any opening. Okay. Say, today, let's assume we don't have this, we don't have all these windows. Okay, imagine, katakan, all these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floor. No windows. 1, 2, 3 must build the horizontal. But this level, not necessary. Why? Because you have no opening. But after 20 meter, you need to build. You understand? Let's say, katakanlah, from here to here is 20 meter. Then your next level is here already. This one, you don't need to put. Understand? Okay? Confused. It's okay. I also very confused when I first time learned about this, so it's all right, okay? So, but basically what I want to say is, it's easy to know that you are compliant. That's easy. But it's not easy to know that are you complying correctly. That's the tough part. Because in the industry, there will be some people who interpret wrongly, will give you wrong advice, and tell you, no, you don't need to put here, you need to put that, you just need to put here. And that's all very, very wrong. So if you want to know the real stuff, the right thing, go back to our BS 8414 manual. There's a book. I can share with you. I think we have one in our presentation today. And or another way, look for me or look for my colleague. Call us. We can give you advice. All right? So, okay, let's go to the next slide. So, why compartmentalization is so important? That's how it works. Can you see the fire? When you compartmentalize properly, we just like try and demo a bit lah. You can see the fire is being contained. It's not spread out. And that's the idea of it. All right? Okay? Because along this, we've got put in some intermittent as well, the fire blocker, and we have some rock wool around this compartment. All right? So after burning, can you see? This is the intermittent that we had. All right? So just to show you how it works. I forgot the picture, sorry. Okay. Now, this is also a very important thing that I like to share with you. This is our barrier. This is our product. Looks very simple, but it works wonders. Right? Okay? This is how it works. So, basically, if you look, this is our product that we took a picture in 3 years ago, September 2022. This is a picture we taken just about a few months ago. So, once we do a test burn, this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is the intermittent. That it will, once it burn, it will grow when it hit almost, if I'm not mistaken, sorry, I cannot remember the temperature. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 150 degrees Celsius. Then it will start to expand. If I'm not mistaken, I need to check back my data. So sorry about that. So when it expands, then it will become like this, and it will actually fill the gap. Okay, I will show you later in drawing later why is it important to have this intermittent. Okay, now, why I want to show you this photo is because of this. Okay, can you see this is the product that we have? Our product is very rigid. What do you mean by rigid? Okay, when we install this product on the actual site, okay, you're probably going to, you know, sometimes in Malaysia, you don't know what will happen, delay in payment, all these project delays, you know. Sorry, so many la, right? Our Italian friend don't know what it means by la. Okay. But la is our culture in English. Anyway, what I want to say is there's delay in project. When there's delay in project, all right, so this product will be exposed in the site for some time, all right? Imagine if it's 3 years later, how it looks like. Because our product is very rigid because we're made of steel. So after 3 years, you can look at our steel is still very much intact. Means basically, if this product is exposed for the next 3 years in the site, there's no problem. Why I want to highlight this is because there are certain products in the market that don't have this metal sheet. They just use the rock wool as their product. And rock wool being rock wool, once it's exposed to water, what will happen? You can't use it anymore. It just went damp. All right? And that is why it's very important for you to choose the right product as well. Okay? I'm trying to sell my product here today. That's why I'm emphasizing. Okay, joke aside. All right, this is how it really works, okay? This is basically the barrier that you saw just now. This is the horizontal barrier. So the way we design is like a Z plate. The reason why we have a Z plate is because we want to be able to move freely. This is a barrier of 150. Say, if let's say I have a 130 barrier, then I can just adjust the length of here. So my product become very flexible and rigid, all right? So flexible in the sense that if let's say you have a barrier like 130, I can just adjust accordingly by buying just one type of products. You don't need to buy 2 or 3 different products. But if let's say assume today you have the rock wools, another product that based on rock wool, you need to cut. We don't need to cut. We are there already. Okay? Because we can adjust. And can you see the gap? We leave a 5 to 35 mm. This is the aluminum cladding. This is the aluminum panel. This is the wall. All right? This is the barrier that I'm talking about that you need to put inside the building. Just now all the green and the red, right? This is the red one. All right? So this is our intermission. So what happened is that why we leave this gap is that we want to create a rain screen effect. So katakan, if there's water that goes into this system, it can actually flow down through the wall cladding system. So it won't flood the system. Have you seen like have you heard of this building like, you know, once you clad already, then suddenly the building become like pregnant already. Have you seen it before? Why? Because water seep in and it became pregnant. In Chinese, you call DATO. Okay? So this is what we want to do. This is how we overcome it. All right? So this intermission, it's only 2 mm, but when it burns, it will actually expand 20 times. So when our gap is 5 to 35 meters, will we be able to fill the gap? Yes. So the idea is, when there's no fire, the water can flow freely. When there is fire, the water doesn't matter anymore. You need to stop the fire. So you need this to pinch, close the gap, so that the fire contained under this area. Okay? That's the idea. Very simple. But a lot of engineering and idea has been put in. All right? Okay. And for the vertical being vertical, you don't need rain screen effect, so we can just fill the gap straight away. Okay? We have this rock wool and rock wool here, and there's no intermission needed because it's a dead. Anyway, it's like, you know, a compartmental as well. Okay? All right. Okay. So, what do we do in facade resources? Okay? As I say, the idea of 8414 is very, very simple. But did you get it right? And this is where we're going to help you. If you look for us, we'll make sure that the project that you do are being demarcated properly. This is what we're going to do. We are with the approved document B as well. Therefore, ensure proper compartmentalization. Okay? This is how it works. We'll do this for you. So if you have a job, 18 meters and above, you need 8414. We'll do this. Whether it's free of charge or not, give us the order, then we free of charge. No. For friendship, free of charge, I say. Okay? But I'm just joking. Anyway, what I want to say is, this is very important. This is super, super important. Because I can tell you, in the market, a lot of people don't do this for you. Number one, the idea why they don't want to do this for you is because they want to find ways to save money. And we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to tell you this is where you're supposed to put your barrier, this is where you put your red one, this is where you put your green one, and you must do it. If you don't do it, then we're not going to give you the warranty. All right? Remember, this is a very good business. I'm a special architect as well. You guys are the C2, right? Are you the C2 or C1? Who's the C1 already? Let me remember. C3. Okay? The material supplier, me, is C1. So if they don't follow this, I don't sign them. I don't sign them, they can't get their CCC. They don't get their CCC, that's their problem. So it's very important that this is being done properly. Okay? So, as mentioned, we also do a cavity barrier review. We does work with some fire consultant as well to provide a report if let's say you need. Okay? And this is also important. We also do a QA QC report for the product that you choose. Okay? I think in wall cladding in Malaysia, most of the time they will use composite panel, if I'm not mistaken. But recently, solid aluminum is taking a lot of center stage as well. So we're going to do a QA QC of the solid panel and the composite panel as well. The reason why we can do this, okay, because of our background. Actually, Facade Resources is actually agent for a few brands of composite panel before we decided to move into fire cavity business. Now we no longer, because we want to stand neutral, we have a lot of suppliers that work with us, which later I will show you all the brands that work with us, which we have certificate with them. And we're going to do a full detailed report, how good is their products. Okay? And definitely number 4, which is very important, we're going to do a regular site inspection for you. This is part of our promise, and this is part of our job. You know, when we say regular, very simple, Dato, you just say regular. What is regular? I can tell you, we have a job, less than 100K of supply, less than 100K. We went down, it's in JB. We went down there 5 times. Less than 100K, went down there 5 times. When you divide, it's only 20K one time, but you must know we have costs as well. So this is what I want to tell you, how important that we treat this, you know, that everything is done properly. Okay, so regular site inspection to make sure the installation is done properly. Detailed reports from this inspection documents, compliance record, installation, and address concern effectively. Actually, this is our product. All the report that we went, all the 5 visits that we go, we'll give our architect a copy. I'll give a consultant a copy so that they will have a peace of mind that everything is installed properly as per the demarcation. Okay, so as mentioned, these are all collaborative partners. These are the people that have our 8414 tested. So number 1 is the K3 Metal, which is also my company actually. Okay, we are supplying solid panel, aluminum, and I need to show you something later as well, why it's important. And Akopla brand, I think y'all heard of it. We have also certificate with Apolic, the Japanese composite panel, which should be by Mitsubishi. Alukubon, probably you heard of it. That's we call it the big Daiko, all right? And also Fame Line from Thailand. All right. Now, these are all the certs. Okay, these are all the certs. And this is what important is. Okay, I want to show you one thing. Can you see, let me see. Can you see the words here? FR, Acopla, there's a cavity barrier. Let me look for the cavity barrier. Where's the cavity barrier? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Can you see a system here written? FR100. Yeah. And this is also the same Acopla FR435. There's 2 cert here. It works in pairs, all right, for one brand. This, both are for Acopla. Why we have to do 2 tests? Basically, this is for the cavity barrier of 100. Okay, why 100? Because in Malaysia, the minimum standard of the distance between the wall cladding and the panel is about 100 mm. Okay, and we have one for 435. So what it means is that if you have a project that has 200, 300 cavity barrier, 320, 400, we are certified. Because based on BSA 414, there's another called BSA 414 8419, 9414, sorry. BS 9414, there's standard, there's documentation about the parameters that we can use. So in the parameters is that if you want to be certified 8414 for a certain cavity barrier, you need to make sure that you have the minimum and maximum. Then when you have these 2 as a pair, anything in between you are certified. All right? Why I want to highlight this? Because in the market, a lot of people will show you this later on. They'll show you the 100 probably. If they show you only the 100, you can ask them, what about your maximum? They will have some problem. Why? Because if they don't show you, that means basically they just can be tested. They can just approve by 100. All right? In a site, can you always tell me it's only be 100 consistently from top to bottom? You can't do that. All right? So they are not properly certified. Okay? So why people only do 1 test? They don't do like us, 2 sites. Very simple. Cost. 1 test, as I say, costs about 80,000, and that's not including all the material as well. It's about 100 over 1,000 for each test. So today you're looking about 200,000 worth of tests here. Just a pair. 1 brand. And we have 1 brand. We have 2 brand. Alukubon. 3 brand. Fame Line. Is this Fame Line? Yep. We have 4 brand. This is Apolic. Is it Apolic? Oh no, this is a K3AL. This is a solid sheet. Oh, sorry. I think I sort of like missed too fast. Alucobond. Alpolic was here just now. Alcopla, Alpolic, sorry. Okay? So we have 5 sets. So basically these 5 products has tested with us and in a pair, meaning they are fully complied. Okay? Their product and their system is fully complied with us. Another very important thing that you need to know as well is this. This is 2040, especially recently, a lot of projects now is using solid sheet. Make sure their solid sheet has 2040 as well, because it's a Malaysian standard. Okay? Because with the 2040, you can you can have the schedule. Therefore, you can have part 4. BS 476 part 4 as well. Okay, this is additional that we do for fire testing. All right? And this is a class O, 476 part 6 part 7, K3 aluminum. Lulus. This is a date. Bomba certificate. Why we need this? Because, as you all know, all construction material must have PPS. All right? So, a lot of people will tell you, oh, I sell solid sheet, I have this and that. No, ask them whether do you have CIDB, you have PPS. Do you have part 6, part 7? Do you have BS MS 2040? That's very important. Because only you have this whole set of things, then you're certified. And this, we use this product to put into our BS84 to our BS8414 testing. Okay? All right. This is just some of the documents. Yeah, another thing that I like to highlight is, if let's say you don't know whether, Dato, there's so many cert out there, don't know real or not real. Very simple. Go to SIRIM website. There is a number there in the cert. Just check. Okay? Definitely there are people going to do a lot of magic business here, I know. Okay, just check from there. All right? Okay, this is where I try to highlight to you that, you know, the 2 parameters, 1435 and 100, the minimum and maximum. Okay? So, it's almost to the end of my talk. I'll just show you some. This is our current list of products since 2022. Yep, until now. So, yeah, we are very lucky. We have a lot of projects. We are really, really lucky. And thanks to your support, thanks to architects here, which keep on thinking about us. So we hope to grow this list. At least, I'm not going to be greedy. I think 10 times will be good enough. All right. So these are all a project that has been running. Okay. And these are some of the photo. Okay. We have a medical center. This is a mall in Penang. This is using frame line. This is using Acopla in Penang as well. This is auto cycle carriage. Yeah, this is very nice project. Merchu, I think all of you heard this all. And this is a very unique project anyway. Just so you know. Do you have time? How long we have? Oh, 5 minutes. Can I? Okay. Just 2 minutes more. This project is very unique. You know why? They got their CCC in 2018. Very, very unique. 2018. Imagine, you already got the certificate. Everybody start to stay inside already. Then suddenly, they try to change some of the facade system because of design issue. So the architect reissue and resubmit. So when resubmit, it falls to 2019. What happened in 2019? It falls into 2020. What happened in 2020? The government say, I want to see your A414 standard. But the building is already up. What to do? What to do? It's a very unique project because at the end of the day, we managed to work around. So basically, some of the site, some of the building here, we kind of like take off one by one, slot in the barrier, and put it back. It's really pain in the ass, honestly, but we have to do it. But it's very unique. Okay, it's one of the toughest projects that we encounter as well. All right. This is Ostrom. And I think recently there's a lot of data center inquiry as well, right? So what about data center, you ask us? I'm going to answer you very easy. If it's 18 meter and above, you need It's below 18 meter, you don't need. So you want to save money, tell your owner, build 17.5. Okay, so Moxie Hotel. Sorry, okay, another medical center. This is where I stay anyway. There's a nice driving range at the side anyway. Okay, this is Ipoh. South Key, CP2. The light, yep, in Penang. They're using Fame Line as well. Very unique. This one, can you see? Sandwich panel. They look for us for certification. Doorway. We have to do it, VITORIO. Business. Okay, anyway, they look for us to do the certificate and we got it. So it's still ongoing, all right? This plexus in Batu KWAN. Yeah, we just completed this recently, Finas. They did a refurbishment. Okay, this is a very important thing that I'd like to highlight to everyone here as well. What I come to know is that Bomba is now looking at a lot of old buildings that need to be certified with A414 either, or at least Class O, Part 6, Part 7. Because a lot of buildings pre-1998 built more than 18 meters, they have no certificate at all on any fire testing. So now Bomba is looking at it. So, well, I just want to say this to you all because you're looking at a lot of job opportunity here for the architects. If you have a lot of friends, old friends, 20, 30 years owner that need to rebuild, because they need to have this new certificate, because if they don't, they're going to be paying a lot of premium in insurance, because it's not going to be considered as compliant building. All right? Yeah. All right. So that's the end of my talk. So I hope I don't bore you. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible. But I'm sure the next speaker will make it very interesting for you. Okay? All right? So I'll be here today up to the end of the session as well. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our PAM president for allowing us to do this talk and inviting us here. And definitely to this lovely MC, you did a very good job anyway. I heard she's a student, but she's really stable, all right? But anyway, and thanks to all of you for coming in, not just for the points, and for the talk as well. Thank you so much, and I see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jason KWAN. So next, we are pleased to invite our second speaker for today, Mr. VITORIO MARCON. Please give him a warm welcome, everyone. This will be a shorter introduction. VITORIO MARCON graduated in International Business Studies at Cardiff University with visiting experiences at NYU and EBS Frankfurt. Since the very first internships in Marzotto Group and Deutsche Bank, he developed interest in different industries and markets with significant business experiences for Berndorf Group and Hirsch Group in Europe and North America. Specifically, he developed a significant international experience in construction, insulation, and sandwich panel industries, and brought his skills to become the first senior advisor and then head of international sales for ISOPAN. Please welcome to the stage Mr. VITORIO MARCON.
Wow, how many people? Thank you so much, first of all, to the president of the organization for giving us such possibility for Facade Resources to share such opportunity, to all of you for coming over, and it's really a great opportunity for myself and our companies to introduce what we are doing, and we will be speaking a little bit about data centers, who is, something that is becoming very important worldwide, and in your country will be especially invested by this kind of building, because it looks like there are several either going on or ready to be going on. Huh? So the presentation today is basically from ISOPAN. ISOPAN, I'll give you a little bit of context of what ISOPAN is. Sorry, ISOPAN would be the Italian, pronunciation. ISOPAN is more international. So I might make some mistakes here and there. ISOPAN, as part of Money Group, we will speak a little bit about the data center and how the data center design and how a sandwich panel can contribute on data center, and then a little glance on the Money Group Design Award that we promoted in 2022. Is it off? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Better now? Do you want me to hold the mic? Okay, I'll do it. Okay, better now? Okay. Could you hear me before? Yeah? Okay, good enough. So I didn't take 20 minutes to come over, but a little bit more hours. Thank you, Jason, to remind. So if I will sound a little lazy, please forgive me. I just landed yesterday afternoon, after a long flight. But it's a pleasure and an honor once again to be over here. And as you will see later on, we are spread around the world, but we are missing a lot of Far East. So it's for sure one of the future possible target of new investments is, let's say, this big area. And Malaysia, for sure, being the main target for the area. So ISOPAN, okay, here we go. ISOPAN is part of a larger group named Money Group. Money Group is a privately owned group with this year celebrating 80 years of history. So, we have a little bit of history behind. It's a family group, and it's very, very solid and very stable. And it offers a lot of product solution and skill, mainly for dry construction. We are very much focused on steel, light steel, sandwich panels. So really, dry construction is the fil rouge of all our products, along with steel. And for application that are suitable for new buildings or retrofitting as well. The drivers of the group have been since, I would say, at least 10, 15 years, going international, being sustainable, invest in research and development, and look for good partnership to grow. Sustainability is a very important pillar, regardless what, we hear recently from the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. This is not working? This is better? Okay, now it's working. Here you have a little bit of, I'm sorry, I'm looking at mine, sorry. Here you can see, I will not go too much into the numbers, because I'm positive that they will be provided with a presentation, so they will have the possibility to look at the numbers. But the ESG approach and the sustainability report that we overall get as a group are fairly standing. As well in terms one thing I would like to underline is that Money Group and ISOPAN have been investing a lot of resources and energy in spreading the culture of off-site construction. How? We do promote and sponsor scholarship and a master in off-site technologies for architecture, where we get enrolled as a role of either teachers or panelists or jurors, many, many important international architects. This is something we really strongly believe in. So investing in these applications and in spreading the culture of off-site construction and dry technologies. Okay. A glance on our present worldwide. We have manufacturing plants for sandwich panel. I will get started from across the ocean in Mexico. We have plant and we have a little facility in Houston as well for dry construction, light steel frame based. We have a plant in Spain. We have several plants in Italy because basically we are based out of Italy from Verona. And then we have manufacturing plant in Poland, manufacturing plant in Romania so far. We were used to have a plant in Russia as well, but due to what happened with the war, we were somehow forced to sell it. So we don't have that plant any longer. Some figures. Altogether, we are roughly 1,200 colleagues. We serve something like 10,000 customers in over 64 different countries. In terms of sandwich panel, last year we did deliver over 13 million square meter of sandwich panels. We process a lot of steel, both for sandwich panel and steel construction. Just to give you a glance, last year we processed altogether almost 400,000 tons of steels. And we develop a turnover of roughly 727 million euro. Okay, here we are. Just a glance on ISOPAN and Money Group. There are several companies within Money Group. Money Cypre is dedicated to steel fabrication, is one of the largest service centers for steel products in Europe. Money Inox is focused on stainless steel application and trading and services. Money Green Tech is a company developing its own philosophy of construction based on light steel frame applications. And then it's ISOPAN that you will get a special glance later. And Money Energy is taking care of designing, engineering, putting together and managing renewable energy applications. Here, let's go to ISOPAN. ISOPAN is one of the most large sandwich panel manufacturer worldwide, and we name it Building Envelope Solutions. And the mission is to fulfill the purpose of responsible building concept, considering the well-being of the occupants and the positive externality of all the stakeholders in the community. A little bit behind. This year, ISOPAN is celebrating 50 years. So we are within a group, 80 years old, okay, or actually 80 years experienced, but we are celebrating 50 years of experience as ISOPAN. It's very important here because starting from January of this year, ISOPAN has become a joint venture between Money Group and Marcegaglia Steel. Maybe, I don't know how popular Marcegaglia as a brand is over here in Asia, but I can tell you that in Europe is one of the most reputed, let's say, steel operator with a turnover of almost 9 billion euro, okay, and several different manufacturing planted application, mainly focused between Europe, North America, and Central America. So we are, and why are we joining together? Huh? Because Marcegaglia is having actually 2 manufacturing plants for sandwich panel, and one of the application they manufacture is coated steel. Coated steel is the, if not the most important, one of the 2 most important ingredients to put together a proper sandwich panel, okay? ISOPAN was already quite large for being a sandwich panel manufacturer, but we honestly see the trend in our industry for consolidation, so becoming bigger and bigger, you know, and having the possibility to cover all the possible geographical areas and all the potential application area is becoming more and more important. In order to do it properly, you need size, to invest in R&D, to be present all over, and to be really in partnership. You remember I spoke about partnership, integrated with partners. So it was really a perfect combination between 2 family businesses and 2 family groups, which will boost a lot the next phase of growth and development of ISOPAN. Anyhow, let's go back. 50 years of innovation. We are present in over 70 countries worldwide in terms of delivery. We have 7 manufacturing sites in Europe and North America, Mexico being a very large facility. And we are reported to be the second largest panel producer in Europe. Consider that Europe is the area of the world where sandwich panels are more popular, so it means to be basically the second largest worldwide. We invest a lot and we believe a lot in innovation, so we always invest in R&D to find new efficient solutions for new building or retrofit. We invest a lot in certification. I totally agree with Jason. The way to prove the performances of the products are certification. They are more and more required. We are working, by the way, on the certification for this area of the world as well, because some of their certification can be really applied worldwide. Some other are very local. So sandwich panel industry is the example of what a local business is. It's global to some aspects, but it's very local to some other aspects, starting from certification. Once again, behind ISOPAN, we have 2 very strong families, okay, with their investments in steel. All together, these 2 families has almost 150 years of experience. And we have many things in common, starting from sharing the commitment into quality, sustainability, and innovation. Here are some of the brands. Besides what we have in Italy, we have ISOPAN Iberican in Spain, ISOPAN East in Romania, ISOSINDU in Mexico, and ISOPAN Poland in the Polish territory. Some figures about ISOPAN. Last year, we developed a turnover of approximately 400 million euro in terms of revenue. Altogether, we operate 16 continuous manufacturing lines, and altogether, we are 700 colleagues between production, sales, overhead, and R&D. So let's speak a little bit about data centers. We know how important these kind of buildings are becoming worldwide. We know how important these kind of buildings are for your country, because there are really, as I told you, many to be started or already under construction. And let's go for a little focus on how sandwich panels can be, fitting for such a purpose. Well, we probably all know what the data center is and why it's important. The core functions of a data center is data storage, management and processing, foundation of global digital ecosystem. So they're really important. Which kind of features are we talking about they need? High reliability for sure, because they are high investment and they need to be really reliable. They must ensure a robust security, and they need to guarantee uninterrupted service continuity. That's very, very important. Some figures. It is expected to be a business to grow up to 500 billions US dollar by 2030, so really a humongous number. And it's important, very basically important, to focus on sustainability when designing, when operating, when doing whatever with the data center. And the key challenges are, for sure, improving the energy efficiency while keeping a sustainable resource management and ensure a robust cybersecurity. Sandwich panel maybe does not affect very much I think we are missing a page here. Sorry. Here we are. Okay, so sandwich panel for ensuring robust cybersecurity is not affecting very much. We will see, but something, the contribution is there as well. Huh? Okay. Role of the building envelope in data center efficiency. Sandwich panel is an element which is ensuring several performances in one element. Huh? For sure, high performance of insulation and air tightness is very important to reduce cooling needs and operational costs. So that part of a performance that can be ensured by sandwich panel is extremely important for this kind of building. Then high performance insulation and air tightness can support sustainability by lowering the energy use and environmental impact. So starting from here, we can understand how important, wherever applied, a sandwich panel can be for this kind of a building. Huh? Economic impact and future challenges. For sure, operational continuity and disaster resilience is a factor. Advanced thermal and airflow management is a key factor as well. Fire protection. This all happening is about fire. Huh? So we will see how a sandwich panel can, improve the fire performances and ensure safety system and risk mitigation. Pressure, and the fourth element is pressure to minimize energy use and carbon footprint. Why the building envelope is critical? It helps to control internal climate and energy losses, for sure. It contributes to energy efficiency and OPEX reduction. It provides fire resistance, air tightness, and acoustic comfort inside, outside of the building. And it must comply with international building standards. Here we come with the certification, building protection with proven performances. The panels that ISOPAN manufactures are compliant with fire protection European norms, and as well with factory mutual approved sandwich panel regulation, both for PIR and mineral wool core panels, even if the focus is now mainly of mineral wool. Just for your information, out of the 15 million square meters of sandwich panel production, we can adopt basically most of the well-known insulation material, starting from the basic PUR, getting into PIR, with ultra-performing features in terms of insulation, and then we have rock wool, and we still have some glass wool application. Rock wool material is clearly well known for the fire performances, but we will see later on the details. Huh? Factory mutual is very well known worldwide, and we several times crossed into the need to fulfill their requirements. A lot of attention as well in leading green building certification. ISOPAN is compliance with LEED, or can help, to reach the LEED standards, BREEAM standards. We have very updated EPDs. We do have the Singapore Green Building Council approval with the leader flag, which is quite important. And the use of sandwich panels, once again, is very important to increase energy efficiency and to ensure responsible material use and support for integrative process and indoor environmental quality. Okay. So I told you we can pretty much manufacture sandwich panel with all these different insulation material. Each of them has some features. Basically, PUR and PIR are well known for their thermal performances and their mechanical performances as well. PUR is not performing as well for fire performances. PIR has developed better performances in terms especially of fire reaction, but when it comes to being non-combustible, class 0, as Jason was mentioning, or fire resistance, rock wool is the insulation material to work with. And these performances are extremely important in data center, where superior passive fire protection is a requirement. Rock wool is an A-class, A1 class material, so it's classified as non-combustible. When it gets applied along with the panels, it becomes an A2 class, because in order to keep insulation material and the two metal facing together, we have to use structural bonding, and the minor components of the bonding is increasing the class from A1 to A2 level, but this is still, keeping the non-combustibility confirmation of the performance. We can achieve some significant acoustic performance as well with rock wool inside. In terms of insulation, for sure, we can reach with a single layer up to 34, 35 dB in terms of airborne insulation. To go over that level, we need to work with systems where we basically couple together two panels, okay? And whenever the sound absorption is a requirement, sandwich panel can be delivered with the so-called acoustic version, where the internal part of the panel gets a perforated metal skin, and the holes basically allows the acoustic energy to be absorbed by the wool, which is an excellent absorber. And we can ensure pretty much an alpha Sabine equal to 1 to 90% of the production range. Another advantage of rock wool panels for data center is that is related to the continuity of the thermal performance, okay? Rock wool is, is a very basic and standard and inorganic material, which is not subject to see a decrease in performances throughout the years. So very stable. And as well, it is very durable, okay? And the contribution that can give to environmental evaluation is extremely significant. We were talking about partnership from the very beginning. Who is the partner of ISOPAN Group for this kind of application? Rock wool. Rock wool is the largest rock wool insulation manufacturer worldwide. They, as you for sure know, they are present in your country as well. Although they are a Danish firm, they have plants pretty much all over the world. If I recall, they have something 115 plants now. And they are our partner for this kind of application. What does it mean, partnership, in this case? It means that we work together to develop the projects and the products. We work together to reach the higher level possible of certified performances. And we can benefit of their contribution to reach certified excellence in terms of global recognition. This is a very important partnership for ISOPAN, and I'm positive as well for Rockwell. Huh? So, now a glance on sandwich panel for data center. Where can the panels be applied in a data center? For sure for wall solutions, outer and internal partitioning, for sure for roof solution, and I would name as well, even if here is not mentioned, for ceiling solution, okay? And roof solution, as you will see later on, can be considered on a pitch roof kind of application or on a flat roof kind of application. Why are a good solution for wall? Because they are lightweight, they are flexible, they can be adapted to various layouts. You shall consider that It's an industrial manufactured product, okay? But that gets produced on a continuous process. To give you an idea, we are talking about a line which is roughly 200 meters long, okay? Oh, and the process is completely continuous, okay? But the panels gets delivered at the job site exactly to the size that is needed. Because here we have another important, very important aspect. The relationship between the manufacturer, ISOPAN, and whoever is in charge of developing the design is very important. So the more we get integrated, the more we get to the point that once the panels arrive at the job site, they are really like a part of a Lego that we do for our kids. Huh? Installation, proper installation instruction and drawings, along with products ready and sized to be installed. And once installed, the game is over. It's painted, it's installed, it's performing from day number one. And it's light, it's flexible, so they really are fitting for the purpose of any building, and especially of data centers. As you see stated here, huh? So off-site quality control, fast installation, lower cost and errors, and certified product versus on-site specification, on-site specific certification. So the fact that gets manufactured by an industrialized process is ensuring, you know, all these performances. Product performances and, you know, to retain as low as possible all the installation risks related during the installation phase. When it comes to roof solution as well, on top of the thermal performances and air tightness and acoustic, they can ensure a high load resistance. They, of course, ensure waterproof and durability, and due to the thermal performances, to minimize, you know, the energy loss and ensure really a very minimal maintenance. One comment here, the panels, the outer skins, the outer elements of the panels are made with coated steel mainly. Huh? We can fit the right coating specification according to the installation area. Huh? There are several coating possibilities, and Jason knows because it's, you know, something very popular in their products as well. And the more the manufacturer can fit the coated cycle for the application, the longer is the warranty period, and the smaller is the quantity of energy and resources to be invested in maintenance. As I told you, you will see the drawing later on, the sketches lower on. It's good for both pitched roof application or flat roof solution. Built for performance, designed for the planet. Wow, big one. What can the sandwich panel ensure? Water and air tightness, for sure, both on roofing and vertical wall application. The pre-painted skins, as I was telling you, are made for having aesthetic durability and corrosion resistance, and can ensure somehow a flexibility to the design part as well, because there is a really wide color range for as well branding visibility. In terms of corrosion resistance, we can reach RC5 class, just to name it. So really the very top performance of what is currently needed. 98% of the materials composing the panels are recyclables. So when, you know, we will imagine to be at the end of the building life, we know that we are talking about materials that can be pretty much recycled, huh? Which is, you know, you very well know, very important. Huh? The sound absorption performances are pretty good, especially in the phono version, in the acoustic version. We have achieved as well the classification for burglary resistance. We reach class RC3 of burglary resistance. It's an important element for each kind of building, and for data center as well is quite important. Warranties, as I mentioned, once fitting the right color, the right coating for the right application, we can reach up to 30 years of resistance to corrosion, even in very aggressive environment. A little details on the products. We were talking about facade and walls. Here you have the typical design of the wall panels with the, in this case we're talking about having the outer fixation. And this design is typical of the hidden fixation where the fastener will be placed right there and hidden by the other panel. We can reach significant performances in terms of thermal insulation, because we can reach as high as 240 millimeter panel thickness, starting from 50. In terms of fire reaction, the panels are classified in A2, S1, D0 class. You probably know what I'm talking about, but it means that the panel is classified as non-combustible, A class. In terms of smoke production is extremely low because it's S1 class. And in terms of dripping risk is 0 because it doesn't drip. So it's a D0 class. Huh? Extremely important. That factor is extremely important. And you know, smoke and drops were a factor. Okay, we're talking about the different application now, but were very important factors in Grenfell Tower disaster. Especially smoke was most probably responsible of, if not all, the most of the fatalities in that situation. In the case of this kind of design, we go up to 170, and we are working to reach 200 millimeter in terms of panel thickness. So we lower down a little bit the thickness, and therefore the thermal performances are a little lower. Up here with this design, we reach 240 minutes of fire resistance, up to EI 240. In this configuration, as much as EI 120, okay? In terms of metal finishing, of how, you know, the panel looks like from outside, we have currently these 4 designs. The first one is named plissé. Then we have the so-called box finishing. Then we have the diamond finishing, and we have the emerald finishing. So different metal surface configuration without altering the thermal or acoustic or fire performances of the panel. Here you have a look of how differently, a picture where you can see how they look differently, you know, what I was telling you. This is diamond, this is emerald, you know. Actually, this is all the diamond surface, you know. They can look pretty nice, huh? Because you can perceive this design when you are close by, but the more, once you get distant from the building, it looks like being flat, you know. It appears being flat, but it's not flat, because, you know, being flat is always hiding a lot of risks for the stability of the metal material. Huh? Okay. Roof and flat roof. The sandwich panel gets engineered and designed for this kind of installation. So to be installed on a pitch roof. Regularly, the common sense is to have a roof with at least 5 to 7 degrees pitch, you know, in order to ensure the proper water performances. Huh? And, but we develop a technology, basically, to ensure a good performances in terms of horizontal application in a flat roof configuration. So in this case, as you see, the waves, okay, the crowns, whatever you want to name it, are on their way up, okay? And the performance is here as well. We can reach 200 millimeters in terms of thickness with all the consequent thermal performance. We are talking about an element which is in A2 S1D0 class, so non-combustible, very few smoke and no dripping, and up to, in this case, 240 millimeters. I'm sorry, there is a mistake here, because for the roof we are talking about REI performance. So there is the mechanical component as well, the R factor. So this is something that will have to be adjusted. Huh? And in the flat roof configuration, how did we achieve it? Huh? Geometrically wise, by installing the waves down instead of up, okay? And this is, you know, ensuring having this flat surface. How to prevent the water to basically drip in where the joints are? We develop our own technologies to pre-couple, to pre-assemble either TPO or a PVC membrane to the metal skin of the panel. So we will manufacture the panel with the flat part of it, which is going to be the exposed side during the installation, already with either TPO or PVC pre-assembled, pre-glued. So the element will get to the job site to the proper size, and with either the TPO or the PVC glued together. This is very important because the panel can be installed, okay, and they are already with this TPO installed, and then only the, let's say the so-called pontage area will have to be sealed at the job site, not by using using basically some equipment that we did develop and that we are going either to sell or to give for a gift or to rent to our customer, where by using hot air, they will help to melt these, you know, coupling elements to ensure the proper water performance where the panels are jointing together. It's working very well, and this kind of panels for this kind of application is gaining some market shares, which is, you know, what we are working for. Huh? Because usually flat roof are used differently. There are more the world where the insulation is done on the site. Huh? Here, once again, doing on the site, there are some advantages, but there are disadvantages as well, starting from the real certification of the products and real certification of the system that you put together, relying a lot on responsibility on installers and then to whoever is in charge of certifying the installation job. Huh? We come to an extent that we did develop, along with a partner as well, a system to put green roof on top of these panels. Huh? That's very, very nice and very interesting. Green roof, yeah, here. You see? Because once the panel is installed, it's really totally waterproof. Huh? So it can welcome a green roof kind of solution, and we did develop a solution along with a partner. Huh? But in any case, it's suitable to welcome a green roof as well. Huh? Or it can welcome as well a photovoltaic system, huh? Quite easily. So there are several reasons to prefer this kind of a roof application versus a pitched roof. Huh? Here, you know, considering where we are, I would like to give you a little view on the Money Group Design Award on 2022 that ended up in 2023. As I told you, our group is investing a lot in, you know, culture development and culture, to spread this culture around. How we do it? We do it with architects. We do it with, you know, young generation of architects. We do it with students. So I think it's, you know, the proper situation where I can talk about it. And the contest of 2022 was on designing the future of data centers. Okay. The international design competition organized by Money Group in partnership with YAC stands for Young Architects Competition, was having this theme. Huh? reimagining the data center as a landmark, not just as a technical infrastructure, but as a symbol of innovation, sustainability, and architectural quality. Well, the contest was the contest is lasting for usually 6-7 months, you know. Then we have panelists of jurors, very important, very famous architects, and, you know, they consider the projects and they assign, you know, a price on that. And these are the panelist group that were involved that year, okay? Maybe you know some of these names, are mainly European. Money Group is doing this kind of activity with partners. That year the main sponsor along with us was BASF. And then we had some additional sponsor in Rockwool and Arvedi, who is Arvedi is a European metal elements fabricator. And let me show you how it ended up. Okay, the first prize was won by a German architectural firm named Atelier LXL. Plus, you know, the Germans are never easy with wording, huh? You have a confirmation here. But actually they did an excellent job. As you can see, they developed the concept of having a data center really integrated with the landmark, okay? So they won the first place. Then let's see who came second. Second was, you know, an architectural firm from Vietnam, huh? You see? And one thing that I really like about this activity that we do is that we promote something we truly believe in, and thanks to technology as well, because, you know, nowadays it's quite easy to get somebody from everywhere in the world involved. We really attract resources, ideas, and culture from all over the world, huh? And this firm got the second prize. And the third was won by a Serbian architect. Serbia, Europe, but a little bit in between Europe and Russia, because, you know, it's the first country which is right out of the European border, still very much linked with Russia. They speak the same language, they write the same, they use the same writing, and it's really the border where nowadays, with this crazy war going on in Ukraine, there is a kind of confrontation about mentality. So we really have it across the fence of our garden, let's say. And one firm from there won this prize. So it was very fun. Here we are. So, why it matters? The initiative highlights the pivotal role of data center in the digital age, a role that touches different aspects and areas. Huh? Architectural icons first, okay? Strategic and symbolic role of data centers, off-site modular innovation, and energy efficient, resilient hubs where, you know, the elements of this system where these architects were involved in the challenge. I am over with my presentation, so I thank you again very much for your presence. I thank the organization for the possibility. I thank Jason for sharing, you know, the opportunity. I hope I gave you a little bit of an idea of what we can do with Sandwich Panel, about what ISOPAN is. And I can tell you that we are working on a specific guideline on sandwich application for data centers. So if we will have the possibility to keep in touch, maybe we can share the document as soon as it's ready. It's a matter of, I would say, few additional months. Huh? They are fine-tuning some details of the document, then it's going to be ready and available. Thank you very much.
Please welcome architect LOO CHEE KEONG, our third speaker of the day. To give introduction, our next speaker graduated from USM Penang back in the early 90s when a bowl of noodles costed less than 3 ringgit, guys. Oh my gosh. I wish my wallet can time travel, man. He has been running ARC Partnership and ARC Alliance Sendirian Berhad for over 3 decades, together with a dedicated team of partners and directors. In that time, he has planned townships covering more than 3,000 acres and served as the architect for over 40,000 residential, commercial, institutional, and industrial projects. On top of that, he has personally completed in more than 50 construction contracts. He has also shared his insights widely from Conquest 21 to innovative housing in Datum 2004, and in 2019, presented his paper Thoughts on Contract Issues at PAM. He served as director at PAM, actively contributing to PAM Practice Bureau and Practice Committee, and played a key role in publishing the Guide of Fire Protection in Malaysia, both the 2006 edition and the brand new 2025 edition. He is also currently serving as an examiner with LAM's Majlis Peperiksaan Seni Bina. Now, when he's not busy making sure projects are completed to the highest standard, you'll find him torturing his eyes with fine-scale model making, sitting as an international judge, or sampling durians. Though to this day, he still hasn't decided whether Musangking or Tekka is better. Please, everyone, put your hands together for architect LOO CHEE KEONG.
Thank you very much. We still have not decided whether Tekka or Musangking is better, yeah? So if you want the more fragrant one, you go for Tekka. You want the sweeter one, you go for Musangking. Season has just started. Musangking is out, so try it on your own. Good morning, everyone. Good to see everybody is still awake. Yeah, we've gone through 2 technical talks, very interesting. But what I'm about to deliver perhaps is a detour and not really that related to these products. But a couple of take away from the talks earlier is the law is changing. Yeah, the law is changing and it's changing tremendously. So if you look back at where we were when we start implementing the Uniform Building Bylaw back in '84, it's now 2025. How many decades has then been? And how many times have we actually changed the Uniform Building Bylaw? In the last decade, the events that has happened and whatever technological advances that has taken place, our laws are not keeping up. But we were fortunate that in 2021, at least one version of the Uniform Building Bylaw was gazetted and eventually adopted. And I will go through the motion as to what is now relevant to our topic. Yeah. As I scan the room, I think majority of you guys sitting down there is either baby boomers or Gen X. So I think you're just here to update your knowledge. Those who are taking part 3, in fact, they're sitting in the exam hall today. Okay. So will this eventually become a part 3 question? I don't know. After we go through the talk, then you see whether it's fit to be a part 3 question. All right. So today we are talking about fire safety design, purpose group 1 building. I'm given 60 minutes to basically go through. There are 60 over slides here, so it's going to be very quick. I will try to make it as concise as possible. I think I don't need to give you the general outline. Most of you are basically, I think, my peers and my contemporaries. So I will gear the talk towards what are the updates, yeah, so that we keep ourselves informed and what is relevant to essentially purpose group 1 buildings. It's not on. Okay, so let's gather our thoughts. Perhaps most of you, it's been a while since you sat part 3. Yeah? All right? Those of us, alumni, USM, Studio 400, Studio 500, We've gone through professional practice. We've gone through sitting, looking at coursework, talking about the UBBL, Contracts Act, pen form of contract, all right? But the way the education is at the moment is a lot of the graduates and people coming into the industry, they are not taught this, all right? So there is a disconnect in know-how. When there's a disconnect in know-how, you need to frame your thought as to how to approach this matter. If I were to ask any one of you now, the UBBL, what's the structure of the UBBL, I think a lot will struggle. So what I'm sharing with you now is how, when Chi started the practice, when Chi Suting started the practice and I was invited in, 30 over years ago, we have the benefit and also the privilege and of course the sheer good luck of having a steady stream of projects. So what we are doing now is, whatever experience we have throughout the decades, try to streamline a way of thinking that it's easier for you to approach certain subjects. Some of this, we are actually putting it into the Red Book. If you have had the pleasure of actually reading the Red Book, you will see that it's very, very much structured. And the way it's done is complementing to the way we run our businesses and how we are approaching the legal framework of it. So this paper, I will be talking about 6 essential items. Number 1, I'll talk about the legal framework. What is it that binds us into doing Purpose Group 1 buildings? The second thing is, if you want to talk about Purpose Group 1 buildings, what are actually Purpose Group 1 buildings? All right? Number 3, once you know what the buildings are, then what are the essential things? The first essential thing is, how do you put your building and how do you get to the building in the mindset of bomba? All right? The people who fight fire, what is their mindset with regards to your building? Number 4, you have your building. How do you protect that building from fire risk from outside? Number 5, how do you then avoid your building from burning your neighbor when it catches fire? Then only the last item is, what are then the laws in place for you to equip the building with alarms and safety installation, right? Now, this is fundamental. Those of you who attended the Bomba Road show, it's ongoing at the moment. We just concluded Selangor. We are going over to Kuantan. Then we are going over to Kota Baru, KK, Johor, and then back to Selangor again. So those of you who have not attended 2 days workshop, very concise. The whole Red Book gets dissected. And we also have Bomba Bomba officers who will come in, who will give you that little nugget of information. The last one that we had in KL, a couple of things very, very important. Number 1, what Dato Jason has rightly pointed out, 8414, certification. Be very careful with certification. There are a lot of cases of fraud now. Yeah, a lot of suppliers are printing their own certificates. Okay, so be careful with that. And then the other thing that Bomba wants to highlight to us as an institute, for building submissions, whether with or without system, Purpose Group 1 essentially hardly have any system, all right? The failure rate of submission approvals, close to 50%. Means half the people submitting applications to Bomba do not know what they are doing. All right? I've also got the pleasure to work in the examination board. The passing rate for Bomba-related questions is less than double digit. So for every registered architect out there, if you follow this example, 1 or 2 out of 100 knows Bomba issues. The rest probably don't have enough knowledge or aren't trained in the whole process of how to get the knowledge or where to approach this. So let's try to bridge the gap, all right? Fundamentals of firefighting. Life matters first. Forget about the building. Save the life. Number 2, when the fire happens, contain. Number 3, as it is happening within the building, suppress. Suppression is either from within or without. So with regards to BS 8414, what are they doing? If the building burns, it mustn't add to the fuel. The facade shouldn't add to the fuel and start to spread the fire risk to the upper floor. Grenfell Tower, the facade failed. That is the easiest way for the fire to burn up. And in UK, their policy is, when a fire happens, please stay in the building. And number 3, one of the biggest problems with Grenfell is you have a high-rise building with only one staircase. So those are some of the contributing factors. In Malaysia, we are known to be a country with one of the most highly sophisticated legal requirements for fire safety. All right? In Malaysia, it is known. And when the Red Book was produced, the international community actually praised us for doing this because we are trying to merge the metrics. So it becomes one complete document for everybody to refer to. Even this Red Book is now being used by Bomba themselves to train their officers. All right? So the way they interpret the law, this is the reference. So if you do not have a copy, get yourself a copy, get well-versed to it. What we are trying to do now is get lined up for the next edition. There will be, because we rushed this out. Frankly, we rushed this out. And there will be some typos here and there. We are trying to correct all of it to get it even more complete. Yeah, probably another couple of years, the UBBL is due for another update. Some of the things I will tell you where it needs update. Yeah, and it has to do with Purpose Group 1 buildings. So, legal framework. Those of you who attended the talk, we always talk about this. All right. The first few items. The Act came out in '84. And the UBBL was actually taken, a lot of the inspiration was from the London Building Act. London Building Act, a lot of the legal requirements was because of the London fire in 1666. Practically half of London burned down. And how do they actually created the so-called setbacks for fire separation? They bombed the fire. They took explosives and bombed the buildings in the path of the fire. Now you have a gap. The fire doesn't spread anymore. All right? So now, when we go in and we submit our plans to local majlis, what do we have? All the states give you a guideline, planning guideline, 20 feet setback here, 40 feet setback there. Where did these figures come from? This come from intense study of the 6th schedule. Because they didn't want you to do the calculation, they gave you a guideline. But those good old days are over. Because Bomba is now telling you, please give me my 6th schedule calculation. Why? Because there's a lot of misinterpretation and not knowing how the information or the principles of getting certain dimensions are done. Why are setbacks for houses 3 meters on the side? Why not 4? Why not 1.5? Later I'll give you a hint. Then you start to understand. Yeah? Okay. So now, 84, amend. 50 years, amend a few times. Not good enough. All right? And the huge amendment that affects you and I, 2007. Minister Ong Kating that time pushed this over. Actually, he meant good. He wanted us to self-certify all our buildings. Why? We were complaining about red tapes, right? We couldn't get our approvals. CF was getting slow. So of course, if you want it fast, you do it yourself, right? So, but don't forget, you are all now responsible. And more so for Purpose Group 1 buildings. You don't submit Purpose Group 1 buildings, Bomba compliance for Bomba, to give you a sokongan, right? But what do? If you have nothing in your file, something is wrong. All right? And it amended 2012. What's the big amendment in 2012? The whole party war section got taken out. What happens when the party war section got taken out? There was a huge misinterpretation People who are doing link houses, suddenly, hey, 100 mm thick party wall is also okay. Go and get my bomba cert, certified 2 hours. All right, if I were to ask the room now, why 2 hours? What is the fire rating required for element or structure for purpose group 1 building? All right, actually 2 hours doesn't exist. But all the certificates are 2 hours. Again, why? People have failed to connect. All right? And then, oops, sorry, okay. 2021, the big one. Parliament gazetted it, all right? But don't forget, development is land related. Land laws must follow state laws, not federal laws. If the state don't gazette, the laws are not enforceable. But Bomba, in our meetings with them, because we were very active in the Bomba Red Book, we actually highlighted to them, the law is passed for years, but where's the enforcement? How do my members go to a counter and tell, and basically tell them and explain to them which set of laws are we following? By right, today, if they did not issue this August circular, we are still following 2012. We don't need to follow 2021. All right? But the circular got issued after we pressed Bomba. Something has got to be mentioned. Even state law is not enforcing it. But please use your Fire Services Act. This Fire Services Act was actually gazetted to complement anything that the UBBL couldn't handle when it comes to firefighting. It gives the power to the DG to make certain decisions. All right? That's how the legal framework is. As we go through the slides, a lot of the slides that you see are actually taken off from either Lee Seong's presentation or from the Red Book itself. So I cannot stress again enough. A lot more information will come from the Red Book, but the presentation that I have at this moment gives you the bullet points of what I'm talking about. Yeah? Okay. So internally, the government said, now that the Majlis Negara has decided, we implement, but no state law. So, as I mentioned, this circular went out, dated 8 August. So now, every submission you do to Bomba, 2021. All right? Then I give you a very quick thing to think about. When you look at the Uniform Building Bylaw, I hope you guys are keeping all your Uniform Building Bylaw from 1990s, 2000, and 2021, because they are very saliently different. If you basically certify certain things at certain timeline, please keep them. If anything were to happen to your building, you need to refer to that year, the publication. All right? I will illustrate some points why this is important. Yeah? So we went through the Red Book. We got it out. So now we are doing the roadshow. Our hope is by the end of first quarter next year, the whole industry is now in line. Everything that Jason mentioned will be in the minds of architects designing buildings that require cladding. 8414, it also will align with all the other aspects we are highlighting in the Red Book. Okay, so I did mention anything that UBBL doesn't cover, so the DG is given the opportunity to correct it without going through an Act of Parliament. You know how difficult it is to go through an Act of Parliament? We sat, unfortunately, not enough times with Bomba. When they reach out to stakeholders, a lot of the times, unfortunately, in this government or in whatever past government that we have, civil servants do not put a high enough regard on stakeholders' input. That is the unfortunate part. But is the intention correct? The intention is correct. But if you don't get enough inputs, you never get a more aligned legal update. Yeah? Okay. we are clear with the legal framework. So now, your point of reference is where? The Uniform Building Bylaw, which is a sub-legal document from the Street and Drainage Act. And now you have Bomba Circular telling you, please follow. All right? So now let's go into what we know as Purpose Group 1. If you came out to practice in the 90s, all right, it's very different from today, what Purpose Group 1 buildings are. Purpose Group essentially is in the bylaw with reference to the 5th schedule. And if you look at the 5th schedule, you look at the 6th schedule, and you look at the 7th schedule, they all have little information about Purpose Group 1 buildings. Those of you who have probably forgotten the format of the Uniform Building Bylaw, Part 1, demolish. Part 2, how to submit plans. Part 3, temporary buildings. Part 4, I hope I'm correct, space-light ventilation. Then after that, structural requirement. Then after that, constructional requirement. Then after that, 7 and 8, bomba. So if you talk about firefighting, 7 and 8, right? Only 7 and 8, but not really true. Okay? So in purpose group, first of all is to define the purpose group. Purpose group is basically a definition on complexity and fire risk. So if you want to talk about Purpose Group 1, okay, what actually are they? 134 says all buildings refer to Purpose Group. But in Bylaw 256, Bylaw 256 is located where? Part 8. It says, okay, except for 134, 141, paragraph 2, or Bylaw 225 and 227, every other thing don't apply. Meaning, take part 7, take part 8, throw it away. You don't have to think about it. All right? But, if you look at this, 134 is talking about follow purpose group. Number 2, paragraph 2 of 225 talk about what? Separating walls. Party wall is part of separating walls. 2012, threw away the party wall. All right? Separating wall clauses are in 141, which is part 7. So do I need to comply? I don't need to comply. I need to comply. I still need to comply. The only thing is the law at that point in time has forgotten how to define a party wall. All right? 225, hydrants. Just placement of hydrants. MS 1489 is essentially the technical part of hydrants. Nowhere in this document tells you how to get to the hydrants. All right? 227. 227, later part 8, essentially are alarms and active firefighting systems, how to fight fire from within the building. All right? So, purpose group 1 building, this is an overriding bylaw clause. So we look at 2021 5th schedule. It tells you purpose group 1 is small residential. Operative word, private dwelling house, detached or semi-D or terraced. What's the terminology of terraced? Terrace. Is it linked? Or is it just terraced? Right? So, part 1A, interpretations. Detached building, very clear. A building is a building, all right? Semi-detached, one pair having a party wall. All right? 3, terrace house. Single unit dwelling, single dwelling units, a row or terrace of not less than 3. 3 is still okay. When it's 2, semi-D. All right? Now, those of you who have your old UBBL, go and take your old UBBL and see what it says in Purpose Group 1. purpose group 1 will basically have something in bracket, does not include flats, does not include terrace houses. All right? So what does it mean? If you do a terrace house, sorry, not a purpose group 1 building, go through all of 7 and 8. 7 and 8 inside, there is travel distance limit, isn't it? All right? So you want to comply at that point in time, 10-meter dead end, all our terrace houses don't work. Right? Up. Why is it flashing? Okay. Okay, we were here, and now we are here. Second table in 5th schedule. It tells you compartment limit. If you look at, hey, where's purpose group 1? It's down here, no limit. You can build the size of a palace. It's still a purpose group 1 building. Because there's no limit. All right? But then there are other things which is going to limit you to do that. This is clear, huh? Okay. So now, a couple of questions. Ask yourself, if you do a detached house, you're fine. Villas, bungalows, 1 story, 2 stories, still fine. 3 stories, probably still fine, right? Local council still allow you to submit, but local council don't care whether it's purpose group 1 or what. Bomba cares, right? And there is a reason why it's 3 stories, Why not allow you 4 stories? Because the bylaw says if you want to go more than 4 stories, please give me 2 staircases, right? And not only that, there's other schedules that's going to limit you, and you will not try to have 4-story residential houses. All right? Link houses, not a problem. Those of you doing cluster housing, is it still purpose group 1? It's linked. Still comply, right? Should be, right? You didn't run afoul of the definition, correct? Next, partition housing. Do you know what partition housing is? Essentially, it's 1 piece of land, 1 title. You apply to National Land Code, cut it in the middle, 2 owners. Strata title is overlapping, right? On space. There is something in the National Land Code that a lot of people don't use. We call it partition housing. We've done this before in the 90s in Selangor. 1 piece of land, double frontage, road, smack right in the middle. Something that you all can explore. Why we don't do it anymore is because density that you're getting is not as good as townhouses. After we explore, there was some reason why we explored it last time. I'll show you some of the examples later. And then townhouses. Is it purpose group 1? Think carefully, The so-called compartmentation, is it party wall or is it stratified? Think carefully, All right? In the current law context, does it allow you to interpret it that way? The law says party wall. Not this way. This way, you're a multi-story building. So are you still this, or are you known as a flat or apartment or some other category, other residential? Bomba will probably try and tell you you're self-certifying. You do it, I don't want to know. If you want to declare as purpose group 1, please keep all the documents. Please make sure you comply. But if you want to be safe, if you look at definition, it's not. All right? But I think at this moment, Bomba is still allowing a lot of people who do landed townhouses, purpose group 1. All right? Because at the end of the day, the end journey is the same. You achieve full compliance. Whether Bomba comes and gives you sokongan or not in your G-Farm, that is the only difference. Yeah? Okay. Quad housing, cluster 4 in 1, is it still purpose group 1? The answer is yes, it's quite straightforward. Party wall, 4 different titles. Yeah? Shop house, is it? The answer is not, it's commercial. It's not private dwelling. Okay, so cannot be Purpose Group 1 building. Okay, I'm going to flash you very quickly what we went through and how we summarized this paper. ARC we did in Klang Valley itself, there's close to 30,000 houses that we've delivered. All right, just in Klang Valley alone. So some of the summary that we have, even like partition housing, the first landed strata bungalows in Malaysia, we actually helped a lot in the early formation of the legal requirements. Yeah. We've done all sorts. Those of you who had the pleasure, you're front-facing, you're back-facing. You've got, within a gated community, is it still Purpose Group 1? Landed strata, is it still Purpose Group 1? The answer is yes. The National Land Code and how we deal with strata title has nothing to do with how we fight fire. Yeah? Different facades, still the same, right? But there are other rules that you need to take into consideration with regards to fire risk to your neighbor. You're not dealing with one design, you know. The window placement is going to affect the next neighbor. You give your draftsman and assume that he knows it, he doesn't know it. Yeah, so please design it properly. So what about alternative facades? You've got semi-Ds that's trying to look like bungalows. How do you deal with the party wall? Right? Do you still comply to the same rules as Purpose Group 1? All right? Individual bungalows. The other picture I'm showing you is because I will have the same problem like you guys. You go to KL, you submit to an officer, he will say one thing. You go to JB, you submit to a different officer, he will say a different thing. All right? That's why the red book is very important. I will again also illustrate example how you deal with it later. Perhaps you can get your approvals a little bit faster. But touch wood, at this moment, 30 over years, we've been doing it, not too bad. They are not unreasonable people if you stand your ground and you know what you're talking about. All right? For a lot more complicated buildings, we now submit approvals with a Bomba report. The Bomba report basically tries to paint the way how he thinks. So if I were to submit a building, I'll illustrate the point also, then perhaps it helps you. We have that as part and parcel of the roadshow to make the approval process a bit easier. This particular project was a cluster housing, no back lane. Can or cannot? You need it as fire break or not? You need it as fire escape or not? I don't know. What do you think? What are the back lanes for? Because it is Purpose Group 1, you don't need a back lane. But state will stop you. Why? Plan Malaysia tak ada lah. Model rumah jenis ni tak ada, tak boleh ikut. So everything has to be stratified. Okay, you do a strata scheme like this, then yes. Then what about your roads? How wide are they supposed to be? Okay, I'm just not talking about single buildings. Some of you are doing planning on Purpose Group 1 submissions. Yeah. This is partition housing. This is quarter commoning. The one that I actually highlighted, see, no back lane. Party wall right in the middle, pop, goes up to the apex of the roof. Front and back, two different owners. Okay? What about bungalows that have utility lanes at the back? Actually, if you have bungalows on a hill with utilities at the back, it improves the fire risk. It improves. There's less risk, so there is no issue. You still comply with the general description of what Purpose Group 1 building is. All right? Now, this is the first landed strata bungalow that we did. Back, I can't remember, I think probably 2004, 2 decades ago. Yeah, that time we were in close liaison with the Federal Territories Land Office. Because they at that moment, they really didn't know how to do it. How do you parcelize the accessory parcels? Where's the principal parcel? Where is the common property? So eventually it got done. So now it's all over town. You can actually do something like that now. Okay, then of course within one community building, or rather in a township, we will now zoom into the next aspect of planning for Purpose Group 1 buildings. Yeah, I'm only Okay, 20 minutes in. That's fine. So, let's summarize. Private dwellings. Old folks home can or not? The law says cannot. You do renovation for orphanages, also cannot. That's under group 3 or group 2. Other residential. Why? Fire risk. You're dealing with people who are less able. So they will not give you the same consideration compared to you who stay in the house and know the house inside out, and you can get up and you can walk. Old folks home, orphanages cannot. Not the same amount of ability to run out in case of a risk of fire. So the requirements will be a lot more stringent. Yeah? So, 3 conditions. Not limited in size. And then you look at bylaw 194, single staircase. Because there's a limit. You go up more than 4 stories, and we hardly build a single residence with more than 1 staircase. Yeah? Can we not do it? Yes, you can. Then basically you may comply already. But the funny thing is, when you look at bylaw 256 just now, the exception clause, no exclusion, what the end limit? Right? Now, I will illustrate why it becomes very, very complicated. Okay, building placement and getting to the building. Let's talk about how to approach a building now. All right? Bylaw 140, fire appliances access. How to get to the building. This particular bylaw talks about 3A to 3I. The road that you've got to prepare to get to your building is 6 meters wide. You must be able to stand the weight of the firefighting tender, 30 tons. You must basically be placed, this is new, 2 meters away from the access opening. Then you scratch your head. What is access opening? Okay? What it means is every building, wherever is the wall, there's one opening. For either bomber to get in or people to get out. Right? Item D. The road that you're preparing is either 115 or 19. So what is the conventional difference between these 2 gradients? 115 is where I, as a bomber officer, can park my truck, put on my hose. My truck is stable, not on an incline. I'm pulling out the hose, I'm fighting fire. 19, I'm not fighting fire there. But I'm using that road to get to the 115. Okay? Then, if you have a row of houses, you can have until 46 meters until you give me a turning design. The dead end becomes a cul-de-sac with a turning facility. All right? And the turning radius, 3F, is determined by bomba, how you design it. There were circulars in the past. There was the 2nd edition, which gives you some examples, but we've even fine-tuned it even further. And to get to that building, if let's say you do a gated community with a nice, luxurious guardhouse at the outside, there are certain limits as to height and width. Because the bomber trucks needs to get in and out. Yeah? And then, if you don't have those roads, the road on the outside, for example, you may have a house next to a 50 feet road outside, and then you practically design another 20 feet road in front, or a 18 feet road in front. Say, landed strata. Roads don't get surrendered. Margins allows you to do it. You can't fight fire with a 18 feet road. You have to rely on the 50 feet road outside to fight fire. So from that 50 feet road right to your access opening of your building, there must be 3I, no obstruction. You're using that road to fight fire, where the fire tenders actually sits their platforms. Right? But then again, logic, right? Design a building, you must have access, right, to fight fire. But this is bylaw 140. 140 is in, again, 7 and 8, where I don't have to comply. So what does it mean? Do I need to give or don't need to give? All right? Now, in the course of the Uniform Building Bylaw changes, like I said, people have forgotten to map the matrix. But it has always been meant that you must give this. You must have this. That's why whenever there is a loophole, luckily for the Fire Services Act, Bomba will tell you, comply. Even though there's an exception, comply. Use logic. You must have it. Or else I can't come to fight fire. I can't come to save lives. Yeah? Okay, I'm using a high-rise illustration. What it means is, public road, design your road to get in, design the network to actually fight fire to reach the building. In more related items, this is extraction from the Red Book. Please see the examples. Here, when we draw something like that, you'll be scratching your head if I'm in a row of link houses, how I'm going to apply this. Don't tell me I'm supposed to give this roundabout, right? No developer in town is going to allow you to do that. You're just wasting land. Huh? Okay? So, but the requirements are there. When it's hammerhead, these are the requirements. So how do you adapt? How do you adopt? Lot, 50 feet or 40 feet road reserve, 12 meter or 15 meter to those who are younger. 24 feet premix lane, side lane, 6 meter. You can, if you look at this diagram, and you look at the turning radius, sorry, this 6 meter is actually here. 6 meter within the, because the operating minimum requirement is 6 meter, as long as you're within the pavement path driveway. If you look at, and you map this, it's exactly the same as this. Just be careful with this turning radius right here. Done, right? If it's a 40 feet road, can or cannot? Go back and test, please. 40 feet road, you may have to split this to get the radius you want. Okay? So these are some illustrations in the Red Book. So here, from the end of the row, just have a little knuckle. At the end of the row, shorten this row. This is done a lot in the 80s and 90s. A lot, if you guys notice. Yeah? This gives you the required coverage. Okay. Now we know how to get to the building. So how do we now protect the building? So, Bylaw 225. Every building shall be served by at least one hydrant. And the hydrant that you place cannot be further than 30 meters from the access opening. All right? So imagine if you have a huge bungalow or land, agricultural land, and you want to, somebody, rich uncle tells you to build a building in the middle of the land, 5 acres. Where's the hydrant? Outside. So how? Mampus lah macam ni. I got put hydrant inside. Inside my private land, how to ask Bomba to take care of the hydrant? Alright? So now the interpretation when it comes to purpose group 1, that's not how you interpret lah. Yeah? Okay? They are saying 30 meters, but the interpretation is this 30 meters main to the front gate. So in a typical development, hydrant, as long as you hit the front gate, not the front door, so you're safe. So that bylaw says 2 things. Number 1, 30 meters. Number 2, hydrant to act as redundancy, 90 meters apart. So it is 90 meters apart. Unfortunately, there's no link there. This to this is 90 meters, but do I need to link this to this 90 meters? Of course not, right? At least one has to be 90 meters. Correct? So this guy, well, redundancy for this fella. This row, redundancy for this fella, for this fella. If you're not familiar how Bomba fight fires, the fire tender is actually a pump. All right? The fire engine that you see is a pump. He takes the water from the hydrant. He doesn't go and take the water direct from the hydrant and start spraying. That's not how it works. Goes through the pump, check up the pressure, use the pump. From the pump, he can actually hook on 3 or 4 different attachment or hoses. Then he can fight fire from there. So elevated the pressure. That's how it works. So every every length of firefighting hose, if I'm not mistaken, is 150 meters long. They are allowed to couple 2 or 3 lengths. So why the 90 meter has got to do with redundancy. They are able, in any fire truck, carries a certain number of lengths of hoses. So they are able to basically pull some extra length. So if this fail, turn on the water, no water comes out, he's relying on this coupling, save the fire on the other side. Yeah? Another illustration will come after this. So that is the principle. If you don't have hydrants, you have to have an additional fire source, or rather water source. It can be the lake, it can be whatever. This is for rural area. Don't design it in the middle of KL and say I'm using the detention pond. Nobody in town is going to allow you to do it. Okay. Okay, so what does it mean? This section, 115 gradient. My firefighting tender is being parked there, right? This section can be 19. Okay? Again, this sort of thing is good to illustrate to Bomba. Bomba, every time you submit plan to them, they will tell you, okay, you have drawn in all your fire hydrants. I want to add one here, add one there, add one here, add one there. Ask them why. Then you got to illustrate to them and explain to them why it's this way. Then your developer will be very, very grateful to you. Then you can ask for more fees, okay? Okay, next one we want to talk about. Now you know how to save the fire, basically. Now how do you actually avoid the fire from your neighboring building to come and affect you? So separation of buildings, 6 schedule. You look at the 6 schedule, essentially again in part 7, part 8. You already told me don't need to comply, you still ask me to look. But at one point in time, you had to look. Why? You look at 6 schedule. 6 schedule is a weird animal. You look at the schedule, there is one section purposely meant for purpose group 1 buildings. If you don't want me to look, don't create lah. What you create? Right? They have forgotten about it. When they amended the law, they've taken it out. Oh no, what am I going to do with it? They actually want you to comply. All right? So, I won't go through the final details of the 6 schedule. Essentially, you establish a relevant boundary. This relevant boundary, if you have got a title, okay, straightforward. If it's a building sitting in a boundary title, different parties, so normally the boundary becomes the boundary, right? Majlis will actually have set to you all your setbacks. You cannot run away. That's the middle line, means that's the middle line. If he builds over, he's in contravention. But when you design, you are designing based on guidelines. So if this is your setback, you have a right to design your building until here. You have no right to design your building until here, because if the building is here, the relevant boundary changes. You are affecting him. Because everybody, both parties are using this as the relevant boundary. Right? Now imagine if this is one building, or rather one title, you have built a building here, your uncle wants you to build another building here. Right? So then you have to calculate the boundary between this building and see how the fire might jump from one building to another building. You determine then your own setbacks within. Council doesn't tell you. 6 schedule come into play. All right? So, 6 schedule. Special section for purpose group 1. You get this. What does this mean? When you read it, what does it mean? My building to the other building, correct? No. It's your building to the relevant boundary. It says in fine print. Unfortunately, you're going to name it something like this, confuses the heck out of everybody, but then in fine print say different things. All right? Okay, now I make you think, how many of you have gone to terrace houses where there's no back lane? Or where the side lane is 4.5 meters? Or where the back lane is 6 meters and Majlis allows you to build all the way to the boundary? Do you think you're going to comply? If now you're talking about 6 schedule. All right? If this is the middle line, no issue lah, right? 2.5, center line of the back lane. So if your back lane is 5 meters, assuming, so you're building right to the boundary, middle line is 2.5, right? Then you can follow this rule. Your building length facing that particular relevant boundary, maximum 24 meters. 15 square meters of opening only. So you do the math. If you go full glass upstairs, 2-story terrace house, full glass upstairs, full glass downstairs, you're dead. You don't comply. All right? One door, 3 feet by 7 feet, or if you go by meters, 1 meter by 2 meters is 2 square meters, right? So imagine how many rooms you have. You imagine everyone has got a door with a balcony. Okay? Right? So basically, every one of them is 2 square meters. 4 doors is already 4 square meters. Or rather, 4 doors is already 8 square meters. You are practically eating half. All right? Then don't forget about your windows and whatnot. Yeah? Be careful with this. All right? This illustrates the points. So where are all your relevant boundaries? So if you look at it, the front is usually more luxurious because the road alone is either 40 feet or 50 feet, right? So your middle line relevant boundary is 25 feet away and you have your own setback, your so-called 6-meter setback before you hit your opening. So quite safe. You should be more worried on zero lot designs, building with no setbacks at the back. Why do I say that? Okay. Now, you heard me say about self-certification, right? So please keep all your calculations intact. If your neighbor burns down and he did something, you comply, he didn't comply, you are safe. Right? You also don't comply, he burns down, you're also culpable for putting your client at risk. Yeah? So these are examples. I think later on, not sure whether the slides will go out to you. I hope it does. Yeah? Okay, I come back to this 256 again. So now we are talking about isolation or risk. All right? When you talk about isolation or risk, the first important thing is essentially separating walls. It tells you, except for bylaw 134, 141, separating walls in compliance with, this is basically fire rating 224, fire resistance of element of structure. You all know what element of structure are? Everything is an element of structure, be it the wall, be it the floor, be it the roof and whatnot. It's just that that particular bylaw defines which element you need to fire rate, and fire rate at what rate. Certain circumstances allow you to fire rate, certain circumstances allow you to have flexibility, you do whatever you want, all right? But schedules exist for you to refer to, okay? So because there's separating walls and the issue with party walls, the huge controversy, 2021 puts it back, party wall. Again, confusion. So we try to get rid of the confusion. Bylaw 86 says, all party walls shall generally be not less than 200 millimeters. I think half of you are panicking in town already because what happened to my high rise? My developer has been telling me 100 mm thick, 100 mm thick RC walls. This now is now telling me 200 mm thick. All right? Masonry construction. RC wall masonry construction? The answer is yes. It's just not stone and bricks. Okay? Or in various thickness, compliance to all these parts and acoustic performance. And where is this bylaw? 86. Nothing to do with firefighting. This is constructional requirement. Who enforces this? Local majlis. But Bomba is telling you we are enforcing it. Okay? So for purpose group 1 building, this is now absolute. If you have approvals that predates their circular, you are fine. You have approvals that post-date that circular, you are not fine. If a purchaser comes and takes out an issue with you. Okay? Such party wall shall be made of 2 skins if you construct them separately. Why does this law exist? It's because in some rural areas, some developers sell a row of terrace house land. Each individual purchaser will build their own unit, and they will build half of the party wall at their own boundary. The neighbor will just come and build next to him. So that wall becomes 2 times 100 mm, 200 mm. When there's no neighbor, there's nothing to spread fire to. So it doesn't even comply as a party wall, right? When the neighbor comes in, it becomes 200, it complies. In 2012, when they took it out, free for all. Fire certs came out, cement sand brick, 150 mm, complies 2 hours. Actually, there's, like I said, there's no 2 hours. Where is that slide? Anyway, it says, in basically the 9 schedule, the first part of it says, purpose group 1, half hour. Okay? It says half hour. It doesn't say 2 hours. It doesn't say 1/2 hour. High-rise buildings, 1/2 hour. There's no such thing as 2 hours. Okay? But 2 hours becomes the convenient one. Why? You got to look at the 9 schedule later part where they talk about different materials, what thickness comply to what. Right? Okay? So, for interpretation of the next bylaw, which is talking about bylaw 86.3, multi-story building. Some smart aleck is going to come and tell me, 2-story terrace house, multi-story building what? Right? As far as Bomba is concerned, no. When we say multi-story building, we mean flats and apartments. Okay? You want to call yourself purpose group 1 building, you comply to this, 200 mm. If you don't, if you want to call yourself other resident, can you imagine the problem you're going to get? I'm going to impose travel distance on you. You'll be caught in even worse dilemma. Yeah? Okay? So, that answers the question of you, for you doing high-rise. You can still do that. But don't forget, party walls, like in any other element of structure, you must protect the integrity of the width or the depth. If Bomba and UBBL tells you 100 mm thick, it means 100 mm thick. You cannot encase your electrical conduits. You cannot decide to bore a little bit of hole, put a little bit of other things into it. You just cannot. All right? Don't let any developer tell you they can. If engineers come to you and say that they can, point them to the UBBL. Where does it say that you can? It tells you uniformly, the whole solid mass must be maintained. Okay? So that illustrates this diagram. If this is 100 mm, you want to have conduits, please taken. So your electrical conduits on slabs, where exactly is it? It's under, right? How does that compromise your cover? Your concrete cover? It will compromise your concrete cover. But 9 schedule gives you some form of allowance, because 9 schedule, when it comes to RC slabs, he will tell you 125 mm, I give you 1.5 hours. All right? And I allow you to within the 125 with screed. Meaning, our forefathers were already thinking you're going to embed. They are allowing you the screed thickness. But the screed thickness cannot be thinner than your conduit. Then you can do a non-homogeneous. Refer to your 9 schedule, you'll see it. Yeah? Okay, party walls. If red is party wall, white is all the other element of structure walls, be it your partition, be it the front or whatnots. Keying then becomes key. You cannot key a less rated material onto your party wall. Right? Understand this diagram, right? Never key, let's say red is clay brick, white is cement sand brick. You don't key your cement sand brick onto the party wall. You key the party wall material onto your cement sand brick. Then you protect the integrity of the party wall. Okay? Please bear this in mind. Doesn't tell you in UBBL, you do it the other way, you don't comply. Next, after the party wall comes the roof. Roof in the past, this was a big issue, the extension. In the 90s, what happened? In the 90s, some architects decided to tell Bomba, tak cantik ya. So they got away with it. And what did they introduce? T-beams. T-beams, how is the roof tile going to stay over? Timber battens. Then where's the integrity? The fire is just going to follow the timber batten over to your neighbor. Right? Then Bomba said, no more of this nonsense. Give me back this. And so even structure, it doesn't matter whether yours is a lightweight steel structure or whatnot. Do not hack into this. If you want to hack into this, make sure that it's still maintained at 200 mm. You go on one bed, essentially, a lot of us still specify probably in our drafting office 230 mm, right? You go any thicker, your developer is going to scream at you, why my script so expensive, so thick. But then again, in the market, you can't even find 115 brick. You'll be hard pressed to get 100 mm thick brick. Right? So be careful. All these things, be careful. You know a standard English bond or even a stretcher bond, how you lay the bricks and what are the dimensions you allow for your mortar jointing will play a part in all these dynamics. Okay, so specify them properly. Huh? If you have gutters, these are the rules. Your perpendicular upstand is basically in line with the perpendicular angle of your roof. If your angle is steeper, what happens? Your angle is steeper, your protrusion gets higher, you know. You realize or not? Because the spread of fire, when fire occurs, is basically going upwards. If you look at your Uniform Building Bylaw, all your horizontal barriers, basically is to protect against the up curl, right? What happens to horizontal next to each other? Does fire do this? The answer is yes. Fire does this as well, but less than this because of convection. Yeah. So we will illustrate that in the next slides. So walls, you know, roofing materials, you know. Huh? So class 1, class 0 is basically also mentioned. Yeah. Party walls must be non-combustible. Okay, this is the other diagram that you should be very, very concerned about. Especially back lanes, toilets next to each other. If you don't have a nip wall, this will not work. Because this is a deflector wall. There's a certain minimum 450 mm dimension there to stop the fire from here curling over to the neighbor. When you don't have a deflector wall, the minimum dimension from here to here is 450. So if you can get away with 100 mm party wall like in high rise, the distance between your window edge to the window edge is 1,000 minimum. But if you are in landed property, 200 mm, please add another 100 into it. Correct or not correct? Okay? Understand, huh? This one? Quite straightforward. Okay, now, what is then 225, 227? 225 is hydrants. How to fight fire? Hydrants. That's the only thing it says. Fight hydrant, provide me with hydrants. So because you provide me with hydrants, by right, how to get to hydrants will determine your access. Right? It's a long-winded kind of way to force you to comply. Because I'm a bomber officer, I got to fight fire, I must make sure I can get there. All right? And then 227. These are all active and sensor driven. So now when you submit to Bomba, they will ask two things. Number one, item number 7 is self-contained smoke detector, but for 3-story and above. If you have 3-story, please give me a smoke detector. They don't tell you where to put, but usually you put it at the highest risk, perhaps the kitchen or somewhere more strategic. Yeah? But you need portable fire extinguishers. It's a requirement. Portable fire extinguisher is a requirement by Law 227. I have approvals where I go to a Bomba officer, I put it in, he takes it out. Don't tell me why. But if he's going to give me approval based on that, I say thank you very much. You know, it is still happening, but it should not happen because it's law. Once we have this book, everybody knows about it. Give it 3-4 months. We'll be happy to see how everything follows. Now, same thing like what Jason was talking about, C1, C2, C3. C1 is manufacturer, C2 is installer, C3 is supervision, us. This is the one that enforcement head was talking about. They forged this. They forged this as well, the whole format. They print their own format. And then when you see the signature, the officer who signed this has already retired 10 years ago. All right, so I was asking him, where can I see this? CRIM, you may know. Here, you have to go to testing department in Bomba. Certification department, they will have this copy. So you bounce it off them. Is this valid? Is this not valid? Yeah. And then you sign. And you keep. Don't end of project. Oh, happy, I collected my last ringgit. Thank you very much. Here's my CCC. Bye-bye. Don't do that. The contractor is still on board. Get all these things. You're supposed to keep it. Self-certification. Yeah? Okay. This is as an aside. Big issue with firefighting. Bomba officer come and tell you your staircase is for fire safety. Actually, no. Purpose Group 1 building has never meant to be categorized in all their staircases as firefighting staircases. Why? Because of user familiarity. So the requirements are actually a lot lower. But what the Uniform Building Bylaw didn't tell you is, he will tell you the threat is 275. The riser is 180. The limits are set. But how do you calculate? All right? In a firefighting staircase, if possible, in high rises and whatnot, firefighting staircases are for occupants to escape or for Bomba officer to fight fire. If you understand how they fight fire, high rise, alarm rings, they get to site, all lifts are down. Fire lift is operating. Why is the fire lift operating? Not for the people to use. The fire lift is operating for the Bomba officer to take the lift to go up to, let's say, 50th floor is on fire. Bomba officer will take the lift to go up to 49th floor or 48th floor. He will get out from there and run towards the nearest staircase, your protected staircase. They call that their fortress. That's where they start the attack of the fire. He runs 1 or 2 floors up. He tests the door. He opens the door. He fights. Okay? Because he's carrying 70 kilos of equipment, the requirement for the design of the staircase is very stringent. He doesn't want nosing. Why he doesn't want nosing? The guy is wearing his mask, he's having his equipment, his leg, heavy boots, he might trip. He doesn't want that. But if you are designing it for your house, you have nosing and whatnot because of detailing, flexible. So the red book is very clear now. How you interpret this. Is it from the edge of the step, from the edge here to this edge? Or if the nosing juts out, is it to the edge of the nosing? And sometimes you do non-straight walls, right? Inclined walls for the step. So all the requirements is now very clear. How to calculate for purpose group 1 buildings and staircases inside your duplex. All right? That is not a firefighting staircase compared to staircases which is on the outside. Yeah, meant for firefighting. So that's why general rule, spiral staircases, non-winders, irregular staircases are never allowed for firefighting staircases. But they're allowed for residential housing. Okay? I think that's it. Very quickly. I covered everything in 1 hour. Thank you very much. Switch it on? Is it on?
Yes. Thank you. So right now we're going to be going into a Q&A session. I believe we will display the QR code for everyone to scan, and then you can start sending your questions in. Here I'd like to invite all the speakers back to the stage. To represent Dato Jason KWAN, we would like to invite Mr. Eric Song up to stage. Please give them all a round of applause as they come up to the stage. So just a reminder, we will now open the floor for questions and answers. If you have any questions, please scan the QR code and we will see the questions.
All right, good afternoon. While waiting for the participants draft the questions, I giving a sparks. Very informative, Architect Loo, sharing with us about this purpose group, especially for housing project. I just posed the one questions and need your opinion. After looking very deep, very thorough about requirements of the housing, especially for this purpose group 1, what is your opinion about Bomba will not come for Bomba inspection for housing project nowadays? They always come back to PSP to make sure all this compliance, but they don't want to come to the inspection for housing project nowadays. So what's your opinion about it?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will always, like I said just now in the presentation, the intention is good. It has always been the way the law is drafted. The responsibility is not theirs. The responsibility has always been us as the registered professional. It's just like you go to a doctor, you don't tell the doctor you're not responsible for how you're taking care of my health, right? When I come to see you for a checkup. So in this instance, they don't come, but at one point in time, you still have to submit, except for maybe if you're doing renovation, nothing to do with it, you just keep, right? Then your G forms, you just say tidak berkenaan. Tidak berkenaan, tidak bermaksud, tidak berkenaan untuk comply. Tidak berkenaan because the law doesn't require you to comply to certain things and comply to the procedure. You still have to keep. That's why you're declaring your Porang F and Porang G. You have no choice. But if you were to tell me, if you were to ask me for my opinion, is it welcome that they don't come and interfere anymore, I would say yes. But be frank to yourself, we are not ready. By virtue of the results for the part 3, we are not ready. Be frank to yourself. Get yourself to learn this first. Learn it well. Those of you who are running practices, if you've got juniors in the office, please teach them. So that we were already bad enough in a scenario where things are not flowing, the information is not out. Please make sure the information goes out. Yeah? Thanks.
We have a questions online. So Someone asked, Building Law 227 stated FE to be provided for every building. For multi-story residential, do we still need to provide FE in each unit if FE is provided at common area?
Is this purpose group 1? It's not. But the answer to your question is yes. You need to provide. When they mean building, they don't mean in your 600 unit building apartment, you only provide one. No. Building means that unit. Each and every individual 600 unit. Yeah?
Another question to Architect Lu. The gradient of 1 to 9 can only be used for access calculation required of 1.6 or 1.2, etc. But about on an island site requirements.
Sorry, 1.6.
One.
Okay. For purpose group 1 building, they already tell you that you don't have to comply. All right? So the issue about it being island site or whatnot doesn't really matter. Your overriding law is that hydrant 30 meter from your access opening, in this case, is your front gate. So it doesn't matter. You want to go ahead, like a lot of houses, in the middle of nowhere, you only provide a road right to your car porch. You don't go around. Right? I understand that the island site requirement is coverage to fight fire. Why is it that when the buildings get bigger, the coverage is more? Because the volume gets bigger and the complexity and how to fight fire changes. The type of machine that bomba will use to fight fire changes as well. Ladders, different, right? Different machines basically have different throw. So purpose group 1, don't have to worry about the coverage.
There's a question asking, is there any project in Malaysia using ISOPAN?
Hello? Can you hear me? Yes. Not as of today. We are working on some specification, but as of today, not. We have several in Singapore, for instance, not so far away from here, but not Malaysia yet.
Thank you. Again, to Architect Lu, someone asked, heard that Merdeka 118 doesn't need to use staircase instead of lift if fire. Why is that?
Because they went to performance-based. If you feel that your building is sophisticated enough, that the current bylaws does not allow you to innovate, please apply via performance-based. As long as you can comply, the DG has an avenue to approve it for you. I have a question for. Yes. You showed some slides on your flat decks. Live load, human traffic on top, is that taken care of? Those
Yes.
without the green building?
Yes, it does, of course. It depends on the span that you have on the
So it's a structural.
support. Yeah, exactly. Underneath, yeah.
Another question online. What is the basis of reference to have 200 mm thick party wall for purpose group 1 building, which is much thicker than high-rise building 100 mm thick party wall?
The fire rating is assumed the same, but actually it came about when 2012 it was taken out. There was a lot of complaint to local majlis that the neighbor is complaining that I can hear exactly what the neighbor is doing next door. All right? And local kementerian kept hounding bomba. Why do you take it out? So now it's back in. So now you have got more peaceful nights.
Someone asked, any requirement for minimum period of fire extinguisher license validity during VP?
I mean, all fire extinguishers have a validity period, right? So at the point of you certifying, make sure it's valid. Yeah, make sure it's valid. Yeah. Don't go and give your purchaser something that has already expired.
Another question, Building Law 140, does access opening means to the gate of the development and not to the opening of the building? Does this apply to factory development?
For factories, okay, they are not purpose group 1. Why? They are not residential, right? So they are under a different purpose group. If you're under a different purpose group, the interpretation is totally different. So access opening is to the opening of the building. Yeah?
Thank you. Someone asked, how do you handle issues with Bomba commenting on kehendak write-ups like adding prima facie after tanggungjawab?
When in doubt, always refer back to HQ. All right, but I know it's easier said than done. How many of you dare to write a letter to say that this Bomba officer say like that, like that, like that? The next time you go and see him, he's black, his face is all black. All right, then after that, he's going to comment to you 1,001 things. But it will happen. So if you are on the side of right, don't worry. Just write a diplomatic letter. Saya tak paham. I need clarification. That's all you need. You don't go and hantam him lah. Huh? Just be diplomatic about it. It's a kekeliruan. We are not sure. We ask for guidance. Yeah.
Maybe I'll have a question. For the fire cavity barrier, are there any challenges in coordinating cavity barriers with M&E services?
M&E, so
Yes.
lighting so far no.
Lighting.
Yeah, so far no. Not much affected because actually ours is on the outdoor. The copper lightings and all those actually can come to our place as well. So you're not affected.
How about the maintenance? Can you explain about your maintenance method?
How about the maintenance?
Basically, maintenance for most of the cladding system, you need to maintain once a year. I think this one actually is most of the building owner, they will not affect it as well. But what we do is actually we're having our programs and the system. So every year, is let's say you're taking our package of the maintenance, we will come to check on the cavity barrier, is it still effective and all those as well. So we write a report to ensure the owner of the buildings or the architects, the material that you selected actually is up to the performances as required.
I think this is very vital because this is our common challenge as an architect when you're handing over the end user.
Yep.
So I hope that you can explain to us briefly about the OMM, the Operational Maintenance Manual. We can educate the end user how to maintain.
Basically, actually, normally for a composite panel, I mean, the warranty is actually stated very clear that once a year you need to clear the panel. So actually, our program actually is inclusive that cleaning the material, checking the cavities barrier systems that we have, because actually it's inside the building that you cannot see the materials and all. But we have the equipment to check. If let's say actually there are any defects of the materials and all that, we are able to replace as well. We're able to replace. And then what we do is under the maintenance on the coating system that we have the equipment to detect that is the color fading, the color chalkings, all those actually is it complies to what is the manufacturer require. So we will give a report to the owner, say, let's say the color change actually within the tolerance. So actually the chemical using solutions and all those actually is equivalent. So actually then it shouldn't be any issue for the panels, right, to last you for the next 20 years or 10 years. A PVDF coating system for most of composite panel can easily last you for 20 years. Look at some of the buildings in KL, like Wisma Gentings and all those. They have a proper maintenance done. The material 20 over years, right, the color still look like new. Yeah.
Thank you. Adulia, just relate to this maintenance issue to Architect Lu, especially for Purpose Group 1 housing. After a certain period of time, what is your opinion about after 10 years or maybe 15 years, 20 years, fire sales for housing project? Because the problem now, housing project, when you're handing over to the end user, you know lah, owner might change a lot of things, especially for fire requirements. So what's your opinion about that?
Well, I think the complexity in all our so-called detailing and materials and whatever we specify in our building, number one, it's not for commercial use. All right? Number two, when we design the building, I hope we are declaring to the owner that it can last for at least 60 years. Right? So materials that is involved in bomba-related sensitive areas, party walls, your wall is not going to collapse. So not an issue unless you do renovation and that is already controlled by plans and whatnots. So will you have roof repair? The answer is yes. But the current party wall already has got the extension. So the roof, they've taken it out because as an element of structure also, you're actually not required to fire rate your roof. It's just class O, class 0 rather. Yeah. So then what are the other things? Window placement. You do an opening that is closer, unless he renovates it illegally. All right? If he renovates it illegally, it's actually the function of not Bomba. It's the local council. They're not doing their job. Yeah. So I think the onus on that is particularly different. Commercial license is different. Actually, fire certificates for commercial license is going to be a very, very big thing very soon, because they are opening the avenues as to who can essentially evaluate and certify. Without fire certificates, commercial companies cannot renew their license. So, gone are the days where you can go into a shopping mall very soon, and the fire doors are all open. Very soon, those days are gone. Also, those days will be gone. Like, for example, what DATO was mentioning. Your building don't comply to current codes. There is, you will look at Part 10 of the Uniform Building Bylaw. It tells you when new law comes into play, there is a moratorium of years that you can get away with it. All right? But when it comes to cladding, they are very, very sure going to comply very, very soon. The last time there was discussion that probably by the end of the year or next year, they will actually have a guideline out on everybody to actually change all their non-performing cladding systems. So then you have to get your fire certs.
I think we have one more question. This will be the final question. Someone asked, if I have the ISOPAN ISOFIRE roof system on my roof, do I still need the 230 mm party wall jutting? If I have the ISOPAN ISOFIRE roof system on my roof, do I still need the 230 mm party wall jutting?
Meaning, if ISOPAN complies with the fire rating requirement equivalent to the party wall. Yes. That's what it means. The question says this: if your material basically can withstand, so why do I still need to jut up my party wall? Yeah. Unfortunately, the Uniform Building Bylaw is a prescriptive bylaw. Right. It's not a performance-based bylaw. If you want to do that, you can go and apply for performance-based and tell Dato DG, I want to do this. I still don't want to jut out. I want to use ISOPAN. Allow me to do it. He'll tell you to do a test. If it complies, yeah, he might agree. I think it is a viable option.
But actually, under the cert is written that it's only for dry wall. It's not for party wall usage.
No, it's not. Nothing. You don't confuse that. Okay, you're talking about fire rating, not for the purpose of it being used. So if you use it as a roof material, what does our element of structure requirement for our purpose group 1 is? It's just class 0. If he can comply to class 0, he's free. But you cannot comply to party wall now. Because you cannot comply to party wall, you're having a different intervention. And apply for a way for this intervention to get rid of this requirement. That's essentially it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.